It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 and the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo.
It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday, baby. Man, thanks for tuning in. It's Monday, August 17th. All right, August 17th, 2020. Man, it is a great day here in the Chi. It's going to be a little not as warm today, a little low 80s, 83 here in the Chi. But you know what? It's going to be a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Now, listen, if you're watching us on Facebook Live or on YouTube, I guess you found us on Facebook and YouTube. Now, if you want to tweet the show, you can tweet us at SM_mornings or at SportsZone Chi. It's CHI. Now, if you want to follow me, just me personally online. Want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. The Snapball. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you do it just for the gram, you can follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. I would be remiss. He's working diligently, so I'm going to bring him up real quick so we can go back to finishing what we got to do. Is my man. He is a whiz. He is the man behind the curtain, the Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself. My guy, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Good morning, Shawn. What's up? How about the Blackhawks, huh?
Whoa, Chuck, dude.
And I'm sitting here. I'm like, man, if they could have just won the overtime game, or they could have just snuck out the other one. This is an even series. That's why I said it looks to me like I said, all the faults from them. Yeah, they bring back all those bad memories, but if they could just limit those mistakes, this team is in it.
I tell you what. I don't know who the hell that was in Corey Crawford's uniform yesterday. Corey Crawford of 2015, 2013.
That was old Corey.
But my goodness gracious, was that dude on his head all freaking game.
He was spinning. He was like a B-boy.
Dude.
He was everywhere.
He was wow. The saves he was making was incredible. I couldn't believe, but we're going to get into that in the top of the morning segment. But man, that was one heck of a game. Well, listen, we got a great show for you today. When I said heck, we have a great show, I am not lying. Guys, you know how we do. Our guy, Joseph Phillips from the Chicago Crusader. He's joining us from 9 to 10 during our top of the morning segment. Then at 10 o'clock, Kenneth Davis, from the formerly of the D and Davis show. He's going to be on for the 10 to 11 o'clock hour. At 10:30, we're going to have Ron Luce. We're going to talk a little Black Hawks hockey in depth with Ron Luce. We were texting before the game yesterday, and it was some good stuff. Then 11 o'clock, Jason Palmer is going to close out the show with me from 11 to 12. But at 11:30, we're going to talk to Michael Boland from CBS Sports and talk a little NBA basketball. So again, we have a phenomenal show, and we need you to be a part of it. How do you do that? Very simple. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, well then you know what? All you need to do is leave a question or comment right there in the post. It'll come up, and as long as it's not stupid, my producer Ivan will put it on the screen. It'll be right up there, we want to incorporate you guys in our show. We want to make sure that you guys are interactive with us. So just leave us a question or comment. If you're watching this from the app, and remember, please download that app if you have not done so. It's SportsZone Chicago is the name of the app. And if you're watching this from the app or listening to us on the app, guess what? You can text us from the app. That's how crazy. Maya did a whole bunch of crazy IT stuff. Man, I'm telling you. So you know what? You can text us from the app, and you can watch us on the app. You can listen to us on the app. Phenomenal stuff. Listen, that's our lineup for today. Joseph Phillips at 9 to 10. Kenneth Davis, he's at 10 to 11. At 10:30, Ron Luce from the On Tap Sports Net. 11 o'clock, Jason Palmer. And then 11:30, Michael Boland from CBS. Talking little Bulls, talking little NBA bubble. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get it started, guys. You know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning Tea, and these are the hot topics of the night before, just some sports in general. And the Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader newspaper. And, man, listen, we have some awesome top of the morning topics. Let's see where we at. Which way do we go? Man, first top of the morning topic, our Blackhawks. Our Blackhawks stayed alive yesterday. Let me tell you something. I have we've seen Corey Crawford have some great games. I thought down 3-0, I thought it was a done deal. And I thought there was no way. And you know what? Before we go any further, how can I forget? I got to bring my man on. I was about to start without him. That's how fired up I am. We got to bring on our guy. He's a sports editor over at the Chicago Crusader. He is a good friend of the program. And despite the fact he's a Cub fan, he seems like a pretty cool guy. I'm just sorry. I got to take shots at you guys. Guys, you can find him on Twitter at ACA Joe. Guys, welcome back. Shawn and Maya, Joe Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa?
Good morning. What's up, Papa?
Man, you got a little sweater on. You cold in the crib or what?
Man, I had to rock the new sweater today, man. So
okay.
It's only in the house, bro. That's all, man.
Okay, I'm feeling it.
I'm on my Bill Cosby, post Bill Cosby, before he got in trouble.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to say something else.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't about to go with the Jello pudding jokes or the Jello shot jokes. I'm leaving that one alone.
How you doing? How was your weekend?
It was great, man. Excellent, man. Had the family reunion on Zoom. The first of its kind for me. Me and the missus did some bike riding yesterday.
Okay.
So
how many miles you go?
You know what? I would have to say probably at least more than 7 miles, close to 7 miles.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was more of a tourist type thing. We just.
It wasn't like we're getting up 20 miles in. Let's go.
It was more like.
Okay.
It was more like a love story, like when the water runs through your feet and you lay in the sand, and you hold hands together and you run. It was more like that.
Okay. I just hope you weren't holding hands while you're riding bikes.
That too. Like
that wouldn't be. That's not very safe, but
yeah, it's so much love. Just put it like that.
I got you. Love. All right, we got Texas chiming in already. What's up, Angel Lopez checking in? What's up, Papa? How are you? He's up in Wisconsin. He's talking Milwaukee Brewers. Sorry, Joseph. Sorry.
Yeah, they always stealing pitches, man. I'm telling you, man, they're good at it, bro. I watched it go down over the weekend. I watched Christian Yelich steal a couple of pitches from us, And for some reason, every time we're up 3-0, here comes a 3-run shot with someone's on base. It's not a coincidence.
No, it's not at all. Well, listen, let's get to it. The first first top of the morning topic. I know we want to talk Brewers. We got to put that on the back burner, Papa. The Blackhawks stay alive with a 3-1 victory over the Vegas Golden Knights. Yes, my goodness. And we were talking about this earlier. Corey Crawford. Whoever the hell that was in his jersey. Was that the 2013, 2014, 2015 Corey Crawford that was in his uniform yesterday? Because if that was, he needs to stay 49 saves yesterday for Corey Crawford. Unbelievable the fact that they only got one past him. One time that the Vegas Golden Knights light the lamp, and the only reason that was because of Corey Crawford.
Yes, that's exactly what we were talking about last week. That next level.
It is.
That's Stanley Cup, Corey Crawford right there. Crow, the man, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, so he pretty much held it down. He could care less about who the Golden Knights were, what they were ranked. He said, hey, I'm going to take the responsibility. I'm going to do my job. My team don't step up. So what? Only thing they can say to me today is that I perform at an A1 level.
Yeah, they can.
Okay. Everybody else got to follow suit.
What did we talk about last week? That was you talked about that championship, that Stanley Cup level. That's the level that Corey Crawford was playing at last night. Okay.
Right.
It was amazing. It was a blast from the past. But by the same token, it was something that can't happen again. Okay. The Blackhawks, there's no reason on God's green earth he needs to be stopping 49 shots. This is not the regular season. This is not the regular season. You can't have your goalie peppered with 49 shots in a playoff game. Okay, the defense, it was crazy. So in the interview afterwards, Corey Crawford wanted to thank the defense. I was like, shut the heck! I was mad as a mug. Okay, with the shots that were blocked by the defense, and with the shots that missed wide of the net that didn't count as official shots on goal, the Vegas Golden Knights had 96 shot attempts. 96 shot attempps. That's ridiculous. Okay? That is ridiculous. They will not sustain. They will be out next game tomorrow if they allow that same type of production from the Vegas Golden Knights. That defense has got to step up big time. Okay? They've got to get in people's faces. There is always to me, Joe, it seemed like there was always one extra Vegas Golden Knight on the ice at the same time. It just seemed like it. I mean, not to miss all the penalties because literally there were, but I'm just talking. They were just everywhere. And I said it last week. It's like the Hawks were playing the 2010 Hawks. They're quicker to the puck. They're everywhere. They're passing. Even Steve Conrad yesterday said, I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm yelling at the screen, I need better passing. All right, you can't, these passes they're flying over sticks. They're missing them. When you're coming out of the zone.
Shitty is what they are, Shawn. Shitty is what they were. That's what they were. Let's keep it right to the facts. They were crappy passes. And if Steve Conrad's yelling at the screen, so was I. All right, because they were very, very bad passes.
They needed, and it was frustrating because that's not the Chicago Blackhawks that I've come to grow and love, to know and love. They're sharp. Their passes were sharp. They're crisp. They're stick to stick. And so many times, either we're coming out of our own end, our zone, we couldn't get out because of a bad pass. If we're going into theirs or keeping it in their zone, we had to come back out because it was a bad pass. Those things got to stop. Those things have to stop. And as wonderful as a game as Corey Crawford have, he will not allow only one goal again if they allow 96 shot attempts. There needs to be more blocks. There needs to be less shot attempts by the Vegas Golden Knights. Okay, that defense. One thing that I said the last couple of years, and I saw this a lot yesterday, and it pissed me off. Whenever there's someone behind the net or someone's going behind the net, okay, with the puck, I don't see anyone diving to the net. I don't see anyone dive into the net right in the slot. I don't see anybody. When Vegas has a puck, I see jokers going to the net all the time. And that, to me, that really bothered me because good things happen when you go to the net.
Exactly. And like you said, if it was anyone that had to step up, that would send a message to the team and also send a message to the Golden Knights, it had to be Corey Crawford because at the end of the day, I know we mentioned last week we needed Taves and them to step up. We needed Kane to step up. And then you was like the rookies played a little well, but they can't carry the team. So we need a veteran pretty much to step up. And what better veteran who has his career on the line right now to step up then the Crow himself, Corey Crawford, 49 saves, leading us to a huge victory over the Las Vegas Golden Knights on yesterday.
Tell you what, we're going to talk a little more about Corey Crawford at 10:30 with Ron Luce from the On Tap Sports Net. He's going to be calling in, and we're going to delve more into that and just how horrible that defense was for the Blackhawks. And we already know you play at that again, Vegas is advancing.
It's done, right? But like I said, this is the time. The time is now. This is probably Corey Crawford's last season. So. As I mentioned in round one, I said, hey, you have to at least give Corey a great going away party, like that senior year, that you want to help that senior do well and win a city championship or win a state championship in high school and say, hey, you're going to go out on top before you graduate, or you're going to go out top before you move to that next level, or you're going to go out top before we trade you off to another team. What I'm saying is that they have to take that mentality when they play against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They have to treat every possession as if it's their last possession. And I think that's the message that was sent to Corey, in spite of what the team mentality is. He was thinking to himself, this could be my last night in the Blackhawks uniform. How do I want to go out? Do I want to go out on top? Do I want to go out as a bum? Do I want to go out them getting rid of me and going to free agency as an average goalie? Or do I want to send a message to the rest of the leagues in the hockey league and let them know that I still got some gas left in my tank? So either way it go, he sent the message last night, and potentially a future team might be looking at him if the Blackhawks decide to move on from him.
I think you're right. That's he definitely put people on notice saying, hey, I still got a lot left. 49 saves against the number one seed team in the Western Conference and stopping all but one of them. Man, it was just one heck of a performance. We're going to talk a little more Blackhawks again at 10:30. The next top of the morning topic, the White Sox. Woo-wee! The White Sox. My goodness.
Thank you, guys.
Salvage a win. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals 7-2. And the highlight of the game was a back-to-back.
2 on, 2 out from Moncada. Yohan drills it. Way back right field. Look out, Goose. It's a 3-run shot.
And he took it out way back, 417, and just like that, a little daylight between the Sox and the Cardinal.
And there's a high fly ball to deep right field. The White Sox have gone back-to-back. Yasmani Grandal over the bullpen in right, his first White Sox home run. And it's now 5-0 White Sox here in the fifth.
Oh boy, that one a line drive to left field and bring him home.
A 3-homer inning, and it's 6-0 White Sox.
And he absolutely hammered it.
In the air left field, Eloy Jimenez to the line and gone again. 4 in a row and a 7-0 lead. Ties a major league record. It's the 10th time it's ever happened.
Wow.
Guys, that clip courtesy of video clip courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago, the audio of NBC Sports Chicago, and of their flagship station, WGN, 720 AM. Man, back to back to back to back. This is a thing that a lot of Sox fans were hoping to see coming into this year. They're hoping to see this is the type of firepower that we expected, that we were hoping. Unfortunately, it hasn't always manifested itself, but I'll tell you what, it was a wonderful thing to see for Sox fans. Let me tell you, we were happy, we were excited. It was something else. Now the only issue, we need pitching. Our pitching's down. I mean, right now we're at 500. Okay, I don't know how happy I am with this. Joe, give me your thoughts.
Well, first, I just want to send a shout out to you guys for salvaging the series yesterday and saving our tails, beating the Cardinals. Because we played them 5 times this week. So,
5 times in 3 days.
In 3 days, so thank you guys. I just want to say We appreciate you guys. Keep doing what you're doing, because as soon as the big brother fall down, the little brother come through and lay a right hook to the enemy. So thank you guys for that. And then two, let's just talk about that lineup, brother. I mean, this is everything you dreamed of, brother. You know, like, you guys got the potential at least 8 30 home run hitters in your lineup. You know, I mean, at any moment you guys can explode. I think the pitching is going to fall in place eventually once y'all get y'all rotation straight. Like I said, I think Keuchel is the ace. If they make Keuchel the ace and rotate him and make him the number one starter, then maybe move Giolito to that 2 or 3 spot so that he can have better matchup instead of bumping heads with other people aces. You see what I mean? Like, you know how sometimes you may have an ace. There was times when the Cubs with Jake Arrieta, a lot of times we didn't start him against other people's aces. We'll start him against other people's number 2s and number 3s, which give us the advantage to add more wins to the schedule. And I think once Renteria makes that adjustment and say, hey, versus, say, for example, throwing your ace against another ace, which can sometimes cancel out, and you may get a no decision versus throwing a number 2 against their ace and then your ace against their number 2, which give you a better chance to win. I think once he makes those adjustments, you're going to see your win percentage skyrocket.
That's a good point. You know, Lucas Giolito still has not been as consistent as we want. He got lit up this weekend. Dallas Keuchel, he is the streak star. He is the slump buster. And he's been our man this season to, one, stop a losing streak. This is twice now. But also to step up and call the teammates out when they're not playing the game the way that it's supposed to be played. And he did that. And that got them on a little mini winning streak. And, you know, it was something that a veteran needs to do. Okay, a World Series champion, especially a pitcher, a World Series champion pitcher, to motivate his team and say, hey, listen, I was on a team that won a World Series. I know how we need to prepare and play. You know, we need to bang more drums. I'm sorry, never mind. We need to prepare and be more fundamentally sound and approach each at bat with a purpose. And it resonated. The Sox went on a little 2-game winning streak, I think, after that. But nonetheless, I love this. This pickup has been Maya loved the pickup. I love the pickup. It's been nothing but great for this White Sox team. And I wouldn't mind if they flip-flopped and put Keuchel at number 1. And Arrieta, and Giolito number 2. You know, I mean, or you can leave him there where it's at, because now he's literally our number 1 pitcher and he's going against the number 2 pitcher. So you may want to leave him there. Right. Or if you're Renteria, do you trust that he can shut down and he can outduel another team's ace, another team's number 1? I don't know. We're going to find out. But I like him where he's at because of what you said, because he's going up against number 2. And it puts the pressure on the number 2. Say, man, I'm going up against Dallas Keuchel, a World Series winner. Look at his record, his ERA, his ability to be a slump buster, and I got to pitch against him. So it's an interesting thing of what Ricky's going to do. Does he move up to the number 1 spot, the number 1 hole, and switch him with Giolito, or does he leave him and stand pat?
Well, I totally agree. And like I said, it did make a big difference for us in 2016 when we knew how to switch it up a little bit. Sometimes we used to surprise our rivals. They'd be like, "Oh, we thought Arrieta was starting today," and then here comes a number 4 starter, and those type of things play with teams' mind because they have a game plan
for that pitcher. Yes,
for that pitcher, and then a lot of times they have a mental rhythm because they may be looking for a relief from the day before because they may have faced another team's ace. And they was like, well, we're going to get a break against their number 2 or their number 3. So if you guys can make those adjustments, like I said, if Ricky Renteria, a true coach, he'll take a look at that rotation and say, you know what? Every now and then, I'm going to mix it up. And this is a 60-game season. If he wants to, he can go to a 4-man rotation if he wants to. If he really wants to get down to the nitty-gritty, or a 3-man rotation if he really, really want to get down to it. Now, I'm not trying to put those expectations out there. I'm saying that if you're playing to win, that's the way to go about it. But if you're trying to, you're trying to give guys an opportunity to grow, and you're trying to make sure that this guy goes through his learning curve, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Project days is over. You see what I mean? You guys are looking for production. It's just like with the Bulls, the same way. We've seen enough projects, okay? We need guys to produce. Bottom line, if you're up in a Major League Baseball team, you need to be producing. No more project situation.
Well, the next top of the morning topic, moving on. Do the recent power struggles from the White Sox concern you? I had been concerned. And I think that's part of some guys. Well, first of all, let's not get it twisted. You're facing major league pitchers, okay? Right. You're still facing major league pitchers. Luis Robert is still young, as phenomenal as he is. He's still young. Yoan Moncada is just emerging. Eloy Jimenez is still young. Tim Anderson is starting to be a KG vet now. All right, he's had 2 consecutive seasons of top-notch production, the last year being the American League batting champion. He's been hurt. 2 of the top pitchers have been hurt. Our top reliever, Aaron Bummer, is hurt. Carlos, you know what I mean? So you lose Carlos Rodon, you lose Michael Kopech, you lose Aaron Bummer. These are all big pieces of the puzzle that you were counting on this year for the White Sox. I think that those guys taken out maybe had a psychological effect. I'm not really concerned about the power outage the White Sox had for a couple of games. I'm more impressed by their ability to turn it back on, and for that, and because they're so young, because Eloy is so young, because Lewis is so young, because Yoan Moncada is so young, because that youth, their ability to turn it back on. And it seems to me, that first of all, I think Jose Abreu's doing a great job as a leader, getting these guys out and making sure that just because you're in a slump doesn't mean you stay in a slump. It means you really go back and focus on the fundamentals. But once one of these guys catches fire, it seems like a couple of them catch fire.
Yeah.
So this power struggle doesn't concern me as much. If it turns into 3 and 5 games, then I'll think about it. But a game or 2 or 3, maybe 3, no, because it all depends on who the pitcher is, who they're facing.
Yeah, no matter how much your team goes into a slump when it comes to power, there's always have to be that one guy in the lineup that stay hot and consistent through the whole year. I don't know who that guy is for you, but whoever that person needs to be. I thought it was going to be Luis Robert because he was pretty much, he was ripping the cover off the ball. But as you say, with every major league scouting report, it's like, okay, we're going to find out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. We're going to see how good are you adjusting to those weaknesses. And I think that's the process he's going through right now. But I think he's your most consistent hitter in that lineup. Even though he's young, he has that star power, and you don't want to put that type of pressure on him. But, with all the hype he's getting, like I said, he's that man. The keys are in his hand. All he has to do is, like I said, make those mental adjustments in the lineup and continue to produce. Especially as great as a player that he is, he should be able to mentally overcome those slumps. Now, as far as the veteran leadership, Tim Anderson, he's last year's batting champion, but like you said, that was last year. He's going through some injuries, but other guys need to step up when he's down. And then in addition to that, you got a lot of young guys who major league pitchers haven't seen yet. So they should be taking advantage of that situation also. So it goes back to the coach. Okay, here it is again. You're facing this situation one more time where you're not making the proper adjustments. What are you going to do when your team's not hitting? Who are you going to go to? Who are you going to fall back on? Do you have a plan A? Do you have a plan B? Most of the times, you're not seeing that from Ricky Renteria. You're not seeing that. So hopefully Ricky can make those adjustments. switching the lineup a little bit, moving guys down, moving guys up, throwing some creativity out to the guys. Hey, look, you want to hit in the 2-hole today? You want to mix it up a little bit? Just trying to instill that confidence. I'm not saying that he's not doing it, just saying that you can't get routine in a short season like this. You have to mix it up a little bit,
I do. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
For the Vegas line to the left wing corner. Sent it off the side of the net. He scored! And that hit the post. And then Leonard in the back and tumbled into the back of the Vegas net.
Blackhawks radio, Matt Highmore's goal gives Chicago a 2-0 lead as they go on to beat Vegas 3-1 in Game 4 of the Western Conference first-round playoffs. The Hawks staying alive. The series now with 3-1 advantage in favor of Vegas. The teams will rest up today and play Game 5 tomorrow night. It's a 9:30 Central puck drop.
High fly ball deep into right field. Backing up is Fowler. This one is gone. Way out of here to right.
Yoan Moncada with the 3-run blast on the White Sox radio network in a 7-2 win over St. Louis on Sunday. Keston Hiura and Orlando Arcia hit homers, leading the Brewers past the Cubs 6-5. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
School goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to masks.
And all at amazing prices. This week, select one-subject notebooks and Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 10 cents each.
Select notebooks and folders for a dime. That really is amazing.
Plus, you can shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 8/22. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Indeed knows that for any business, your next step is the most important one, like hiring someone who can make a real impact. Indeed can help you find high-impact hires faster, without any long-term contracts, and you pay only for what you need, thanks to our super flexible payment options. So why not take that next step with Indeed? Get started with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high-impact. That's Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday. Man, I was listening to some Julian Perez, my guy, on Saturday night. Boy, because he does a Facebook Live from 8 o'clock to like 9:30 because he has a live set of Venuti's out in the western suburbs. So it used to go to 8 to 10, but he had to cut, I guess, a half hour shorter so he can get to the venue in time. So I'm listening to him, and then also remember he's on 104.3 Jams, and his mix on Saturday comes on at midnight. So I was jamming to some Julian Perez from 8 to 9:30, and then I played some other stuff, and then until midnight, and he was back on. Man, it was good stuff. House music all night long. Say what? House music all night long. Say what? House music all night long. Well, the next top of the morning topic, the Cubs. Whew. Cubs with a rough weekend this weekend, and then I'm not going to pick on you, Ivan and Joe, because I know that was a rough one for you. Glad we could help you out yesterday with a shot over the Brewers, but the Cubs lose 3 of 4. The Brewers with a 6-5 loss yesterday over at the friendly confines, and it was a rough one. You know, John Lester, 6 innings. Okay, he went 6 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, all earned, no walks, 5 punch outs. And they just were unable to get that the tying run in the late innings to tie it, maybe send it to extras. You lost 3 out of 4. Okay. Your thoughts on yesterday's game?
Well, there were 2 things that I noticed for these last 3 losses. One, as I said before, the Brewers are good at reading pitches when they have a man on base. Both times, all 3 times that we lost the lead, we were up 3-0, and then they'll have a man on base, and they knew they knew the next pitch that was coming for some reason. I don't know how it's happening in threes like that, but it did. The second thing I noticed is that our starting pitching, they're actually protecting the bullpen, and by them protecting the bullpen, it's kind of like we're giving these major league teams an extra inning for a season. Like it's like we should bring the bullpen in. The starters are still in the game. It shouldn't be that way. So the bullpen has to step up so the starters won't have to keep going 4, 5, 6 innings every time they pitch. They need to get a break every now and then. So now what you're seeing batters starting to see our starters 3, 4, and 5 times throughout the lineup, and teams are going to make adjustments after a while. We need to get a shut down bullpen guy. I don't know if Theo's going to make a trade for one, like a long reliever, somebody who could come in and stop the bleeding when our starters need a little rest so that these batters can't get familiar with us throughout the lineup.
So I got a question for you, Joe. So Are you saying that are you bringing in saying David Ross is having an issue of leaving the pitchers in too long?
Well, it's not David Ross, it's the bullpen. Like, he can't depend on anybody. Like, who can he actually go to for long relief? You know, like I know that there's guys that are on our team, but they don't have like a prominent name, you know. So I don't know if we can make a trade for one right now. We need to. I think it can save our season, because right now I think our starters are being overexposed. You know, they shouldn't have to pitch 6 and 7 innings or 8 innings or complete games every time. They have to actually pitch a complete game when they go out there. Even though we got a great offensive squad, but teams are starting to adjust to that also. So what I'm saying is that let's make a move, go out and get a prominent long reliever or a prominent setup guy who can actually give Jeffries an opportunity to close out the game. Now, we did lose one game because of the new rules with the extra inning thing, where Jeffries was in a tough situation where he had to start off the inning with a guy on second base.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and normally he's not in that situation. He's normally given an opportunity where he can get a guy out individually.
Right.
But you see what I mean? He gave up a double, you know, and it kind of
should have
everything.
He should have had a guy on second with no outs, but instead you got a run that scored and a guy on second with no outs.
Exactly. So that was a fluke right there. You see what I mean? So that's just my opinion on it. Like I said, we need to add a long reliever or a setup man that can pretty much hand the game over. Just a perfect example of that was the Brewers bullpen. They pretty much shut us down. You know, like after they took the lead, they was like, we're not giving up any more runs.
Well, they gave up the run to tie it, the double to tie it, or the single from Kim to tie it.
Yeah, they did, but I'm talking about the other days. I'm talking about the other days when they were like shutting us down. Like we were actually struggling to get a hit, you know, even though we did come through and tie the game up, but they were minimizing our damage. You see what I mean? With the potential of this lineup. That's all I'm saying.
I still think your lineup is extremely potent.
Yeah.
It's still one of the better lineups in the National League. And
like I honestly don't think there's an issue. I think you ran into a team that was in a zone that caught some fire. You lost by 1 run 2 days in a row. That's tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could go either way. Like if
that's 3 or 4, Ivan. That's 3 or 4 you lost.
Right.
That's 3 or 4 you lost.
Right. It's the way we lost.
No, 3. No, you lost 3 games out of 4. It was a 4-game set.
1 run games.
No, I understand. It doesn't matter if it's 1 run or not. You've lost 3 of the 4 out of the series. You lost 3 of them. That's a tough deal.
That I get, but what I'm saying is that you had 2 of those games where you lost by 1 run. That could go either way. So I'm not that worried. I'm not that concerned about them going into this next series. Yeah, they lost 3 or 4, but they lost it in 1-run games. A home run, a 2-run shot. They had runners on in those games, late in those games. It could have went either way. I'm not that concerned. Yeah, they lost 3 or 4. It sucks. But I mean, okay, move on to the next one.
But we can't give up.
Make sure you take advantage when you have the lead in these tight games.
Hey, Ive, we can't give up 2-run shots, 3-run shots. This is where killer instinct comes in. You know, like this team is a veteran team. You can't blow games like that. Then you blew them back to back to back. You see what I mean? That's a bad sign right there.
They got their butts kicked in the second game, and then it was close the next 2 games. The Brewers did the same thing the Cubs were doing. They matched them each blow for blow. But we gave out of 1 series.
But we gave away games, though. You don't give away games. You see what I mean? Like one of the things that made the Cubs good earlier in the season, like right now, is that they wasn't beating
games though.
No, I'm saying they wasn't beating themselves. You know, like. Right now, we're beating ourselves again. We're starting the old 2017, 2018 /2019 trend. You don't want to start beating yourself. That's a bad habit to pick up. And reason why I'm saying that, because it originally started with the issues with the bullpen. They were blowing saves and doing those things. Now it's starting to trickle down to our starters mentally, because they'll pitch 4 or 5 good innings, and then they had that 1 bad inning before they, you see what I mean? Before they hand the ball over to the reliever.
How to start in baseball? They were 13-3 before they lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. So
we were getting breaks. We were getting breaks in between those winning streaks. We were getting breaks also. Yeah, we were dominating, but we were also getting breaks. We weren't just winning every game 10-2, 10-3. Some games we were winning by 1 run. Some games we were winning by 2 runs. What I'm saying,
part of that was down to the bullpen too, as well. So the bullpen. I get what you're saying, but that it's going to tax on the starters, not having somebody to be reliable. Yeah, but I don't think that they're reverting to old ways or something. I think they just got beat. They just got beat like flat out. The Brewers out hit them. They lost by 1 run in the last 2 games. That's 3 in a row.
We play tonight, right?
3 in a row is bad, but I don't think that it's time to like hit some type of emergency button or have the panic or something.
Yeah,
like that.
You know why I say that, Ivan? Because we're only 3.5 games up in first place. All the Cardinals got to do is win 5 games, and they back in first place.
I get that, but
you know what I mean, like it can change. It can change just like that. There has to be a sense of urgency when it comes to adding someone in that relief spot that can at least hold them over until the closer comes in. Because right now, like Kimbrel had a good game yesterday. He pitched a great game.
What are you going to give up? What are you going to give up for that type of an arm? What are you going to give up? Is that type of an arm even out there? Who are you going to find?
Yeah, we can always go to other teams and talk to them. There's always negotiation going on, even during the season.
I'm skeptical about giving up something big in a shortened season.
Right, because you're winning now.
Paying optimal, they're going to be paying top dollar for a guy who might be there for a month, and you might not even win the title. So that's for me, trading it like what they're doing by like just kind of filtering guys in and giving them shots and seeing where they're going. I think that might be the best route, because you're not gonna go ahead and continue to tax yourself and give up more assets to get a guy who probably can't even get you to where you want to be.
Ivan, would you rather want bullpen by committee or a veteran shut down relief pitcher who can set up 2 top closers in Kimbrel and Jeffries, put them in a situation where they only have to get 3 outs? What I'm saying is that We need that long. We need that Travis Wood type guy. You remember how Travis Wood was? He'll come in the game.
Situations.
Right. Yeah. Right. He'll come in
middle relief, like the just the bridge.
Right. He's like a starter, he's like a mid-game starter.
Out there, I'm good with it, but the price is my worry because I know that that's what's going to happen. All the price is going to start skyrocketing for players that contenders are going to look for. Like these teams that are going to have these players that guys want you're going to get hit. And
let me jump in.
Okay.
As much as I'm enjoying Cub fans,
I'm sorry, guys,
debating back and forth.
We trying to look out for our team. I can feel it slipping away.
Here's what I think he was talking about, Ivan. 3 out of 4 is, first of all, it's a shortened season, so that sucks because every game is more important. Now you're only 3.5 games up in the division, and not only are you only 3.5 games up, now you're coming out of the Brewers into the Cardinals. Okay, so now you want, it doesn't matter who the Cardinals have lost, who's not playing, who's got COVID. They are that's your rival. That's the biggest thing. So coming off a 3-game or losing 3 out of 4 is not the way you want to go. So you understand from his perspective, from Joe's perspective, that look, you don't want, because these 2 series are huge. I mean, huge. And you lost 3 out of 4. Now you got this game. How are they going to react psychologically? Well, mentally, that's where David Ross has got to come in. He's got to earn his bucks now, early, because you coasted for the first part and you were just destroying teams and beating teams and with fundamental baseball. Now here's where the psychology part of being a manager or a coach comes in. How do you get your guys back? Because they'll say we're full of confidence. You're full of crap. Okay, when you lose 3 out of 4, and then all of a sudden you see like, wow, we got another team. There could be some.
I don't think that's the case for this team. I think this team is quick to let it go by. Yeah, you lost 3 or 4, which is significant. I'm not saying it's not significant, but you're going into it. You got to go right into the Cardinals. So why are you worried about the Brewers? You better have a short-term memory because
it's not about the Brewers. It's about you. It's about your team. It's about It's not about the Brewers are gone. They're gone. That's water to the bridge.
Are you guys not hearing me? I said you have to have a short-term memory. So if you have a short-term memory that the Brewers are done, right? So now you're moving on to the Cardinals.
You're not worried about the Brewers. You're worried about not being able to come up with the big hit. And if you're talking about one run.
Why are you worried about that series, period?
No, you're not worried about the Brewers. You're worried about yourself. You're not saying, wow, the Brewers beat us. You're saying, okay, we were unable to do this. We got to make sure that we're able to do this now.
I think that's a created panic. That's I don't think this team is in a panic at all.
Can I interject?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is what the White Sox are going through also. There's no sense of urgency right now. You see what I mean? Like, you do not want to – hold on. Let me finish, Ivan. What I'm saying is that the worst thing can happen to the Cubs right now is that they get complacent and thinking that they got all day to correct their mistakes. What I'm saying is that this is a get it and go season. It's an accelerated process. So whatever adjustments you need to make, you got to make them on the go. You got to make them on the fly. You can't be like, well, we're going to try this out next series. Before you know it, you'll be behind. You'll be back 1 game if you don't make the right adjustments in the next series or even at the next at bat. What I'm saying is that this is the last year this team probably be together. You have to think about that. Anthony Rizzo even said it like, hey, the reason why we're playing the way we're playing because most of the base guys, the foundational guys might not be here next year. So we can't take this season as if, well, we got off to a high start. This is good enough. No, we want to finish what we start. We want to take every possession as if it's his last possession, every at-bat as if it's his last at-bat, every relief pitching appearance as if it's his last relief pitching appearance. We have to develop a killer instinct. David Ross can't coach bad pitching, but he can sit guys down, okay? So if we got to bring a starter in to pitch long relief, then do that. In other words, when I'm saying every win counts, we cannot give wins away, period.
Okay. You got Jose Quintana on the horizon. There's your guy.
But when is he coming? In next 5 days?
Okay. But you guys just said you can't be worried about it's not about the Cardinals, it's about you. You're going right into the Cardinals series. They have to make that quick turnaround. So I honestly don't believe that this team's even in the slightest worried about their performance. I think that they're going to go in there. They know what they need to do. You best believe if David Ross all year long has been doing something great. We've been praising him all year long.
Right.
All of a sudden he runs into this little hiccup. I'm quite sure he knows exactly what to say to get this team ready for the Cardinals.
But some of these guys haven't been in championship situations. You see what I mean?
Has.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that David Ross only can do so much. Guys have to do their job. And now you're in a situation where the Cardinals are coming off a loss. Okay? They just lost to the White Sox yesterday. You think they're not chomping at the bit to come at the Cubs today? They're trying to send a message to us that even through COVID-19, the Cubs still suck. And they were up 5 games, and here we go. We're coming to take it from them because we're their daddies. We have to send a message to the Cardinals tonight. I'm tired of the Cardinals. I'm tired of the Brewers. We cannot let them hang around. We have to put away the division, killer instinct, no pun intended. Get this season over with. We don't want to play games with none of these teams. I don't want to give wins to the Brewers. I don't want to give wins to the Cardinals, and I definitely don't want to give wins to the Reds. Put them away. That's all I'm saying.
Man, it got so heated, man. I had to step off for a second. Dude, Cubs fans are going at it. I love it, man. I love it.
We need a World Series.
I hear and that's the one thing that's where I'm hoping David Ross can continue to do what he's doing. Because if he has that attitude that you did, that you just have, then it's well. First of all, he can't transfer that attitude onto the players. He can make his point felt with that type of intensity. You're right. In 60 games, there is very little room for error. And if you think how many times in 162 games you still come up tied,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But you're less than a third of that for the season. So the level of intensity has to be at 10. It's got to be on 10 every single game. And when you have a chance to put someone out, put them out. When you have a chance to knock them out, and because what you do, what that does for team, especially because you're playing only the same teams. Okay, you're only playing the AL Central, NL South. That's all you're playing.
Right.
It's the only team you're playing. But when you do that and you step on their throat and you add runs. So you're up by 3, then you add 2 or 3 or 4 more, and you beat them by 6 or 7 runs. Then the next game, you're up by 2 or 3, you add 3 or 4 more runs, you beat them by 6. What happens is psychologically, and it puts in the back of their head that you have this killer instinct.
Right.
You get close. Guess what? We're going to turn it on again. When you think that you got a chance, you don't have a chance. And I understand your sense of what you're saying. That's how I felt when I played. Like I wanted to be when we were playing football. I wanted to be 50-0.
Right.
50-0 in the first half. Okay, so you don't even have a chance. Right. You go to halftime being like, "Damn." Okay, with the Cubs, you keep scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring, and shutout and pitching and shutout. And right now, you hit a little bump. Okay, back to that. You got to switch that mode, and that's where David Ross is so important to make sure his players are focused. Saying, "Hey, listen, you're more than talented enough. Do that. You're more than talented enough. We just need to get you refocused. You need to get yourself refocused because why we started off 13-2, 13-3. Why can't we go 13-3 again?
Right? Why not? Right.
Why not? That'll put you at 20. That'll put you at 26-6.
Right.
And all of a sudden, there you go. Half the season's over.
So, like I said, that's over. Move on to the Cardinals. All right. I'm good. The Cubs are all right. They'll be all right.
I feel you, Ivan. Hey, Ivan, I agree with you, but we got this is our last season together.
I understand the sense of urgency.
Yeah.
But right now, you have to take it a series at a time. Your sense of urgency has to live within that series. So, okay, we lost it. We lost that Brewers series. That's done. That sense of urgency needs to come back. And I think these guys, with the rivalry between the Cardinals, with the St. Louis is boring, with the Yadi Molina talking back and forth. Come on, man. These guys are ready to go. I bet you these guys are ready to go. I think they'll take two today if they could just, if that bullpen could hold up, they could take 2 today.
And we can't.
I don't know about that one, Ivan. I think the best case scenario, of course, they take 2. I think they're getting a split. I think they're going to get a split for today. So, which is good.
If the Cardinals win 2 today, they'll be 1.5 game back.
The Cardinals are driving on the road, driving cars. Like, there's no way. They got to be
What do you
tired.
mean? They're here already.
They got to be tired after that Sox series. They got to be tired after getting shellacked last game. I don't see the Cardinals coming in here and taking it.
They've been on since July.
Wait a minute. The same logic that you have with the Cubs. Why can't that be with the Cardinals? Forget the Sox series. Forget the shellacking you got yesterday. Been up back-to-back home runs, and now you focus on your rival, who brings the best out in you and them. Why doesn't your logic play with them? Work with the Cardinals as well. Why can't they just come out and
I'm not worried about the Cardinals. I'm worried about the Cubs.
They ended our season last year.
I don't care about last year. You're talking about
they ended our season at Wrigley Field.
The Cubs need to come out worried about this year's Cardinals, the 2020 Cardinals. That's all I'm saying. I'm not worried about last year's Cardinals. I'm not worried about last series. I'm worried about game 1 at 4:15.
Who won the division last year?
I don't care about last year.
What I'm asking, who's still the reigning division champ?
You already know who won it. I don't have to say it. I'm not worried about last year, man. I'm not worried about last year, Joseph. I don't care about last year. We're talking about last year.
It's getting hot here. We're gonna move on because they're gonna keep arguing about the Cubs. And like I said, I love it when Cub fans argue amongst each other. It's entertaining. But next time,
I still love you, bro. I still love you.
I know. I got nothing. I know. Right?
I still got love, but love.
Hey, don't be kissing on the. Don't be kissing each other on the thing, Cub fans. The last stop of the morning topic: Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields started a petition. Yeah, I see you, Jason. He started a petition. He petitioned the Big Ten to start season. He's got 20,000 signatures. Okay, 20,000 signatures. They want to play ball. Your thoughts? Listen, Justin. My thought, because here are my thoughts. Justin Fields. Listen, Oklahoma State. I was just watching it this morning. Oklahoma State. Okay, the kids come back, and one frat house already has 20 cases of coronavirus. Come on, man. Come on. I get it. I understand. You want to play. This sucks. This has come from a football guy who loves football more than any sport out there. You're going to have to deal with this. Welcome to freaking life, okay? Welcome to life. It sucks. Sucks. You have to deal with this. Your senior season is not going to be handled or not going to be played in a normal situation. It just isn't, okay? I know you want fall football because that's what you're used to, okay? And football players, we are creatures of habit, athletes in general. The fact of the matter is, it's too big of a health risk. Okay, too big of a health risk. Because what happens when students come back? You want to play football, okay? All you need is one person. One person, Justin. I'm sorry, kid. I know you want to do great things. I know you want to win a national championship. I know. I played football and coached it for so many years. This is different. This year is different.
They don't want to do anything.
You're dealing with people's lives. It's different. Yeah. It's much bigger than football. So you want to put yourself at risk. You want to put your other teammates at risk. You want to put other kids at risk. And what happens if your parents come up for the game and they watch it like in your dorm or they watch it somewhere else, like in a local bar, and then they come visit you after? You want to put your parents at risk? Come on, man. I get you want to play, right? But in the fall, it's not the time.
Could you get transferred, Shawn? Are we about to see a lot of people being like, well, screw it, I'm going to try to get out of here? You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about the SEC and the ACC.
Don't worry. That's not going to go on. That's not going to go on.
I would hope not. I would hope that they all just stop it because they don't have any bubble plan. They have no plan. They have no plan right now. That's what the NCAA. That's what the Big Ten and the Pac. That's what they told you. We have no plan to make this work. So we're not going to go forward with it. So I mean, unless all the other leagues. But how weird would it be? Like your league canceled, and then all the other you're watching the national championship happen. That'd be kind of awkward for me.
It just is not. There's just once kids come back. Once I'm telling you, once kids come back, you're gonna have kids now not social distancing, not wearing masks, and all of a sudden, so what happens? You talked about the lack of bubble. What happens? You're gonna try and go holler at a chick. You go holler at this young lady. You holler at this young lady hasn't been quarantined because she just came from her family, and now she's hanging at the bar, and all of a sudden now you're the star quarterback, and you holler at her, all of a sudden, guess what? You got COVID. You bring that back to the team. It's just not.
They want ratings, Sean. They want ratings. They want
ratings are going to go through the floor when the epidemic hits, and Clemson and their quarterbacks or someone important to theirs goes down. Someone in the SEC goes down, and some of the big names that we have, when those go down because of COVID, we'll see how the ratings are, because the ratings are going to fall through the floor, because no one's going to want to watch the fact that they're top. This Heisman candidate, that Heisman candidate can't play because of the fact that
Shawn and Ivan.
Yeah,
Ivan.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Can I add this to what you guys are saying?
Real quick, we got 30 seconds.
Okay, when it comes to QB Justin Fields, it seems like he has NFL and resume aspirations over life aspirations, and I think you see that dollar sign. He's more concerned about building his resume and how he's perceived about future NFL teams than he is about the moment today. So most of those guys are about the dollar sign. Like I said, it's about how he's perceived and putting himself in position to succeed for his future.
And so Justin Fields needs to hit his booster incentives.
Yeah, because he's not getting paid by the Alumni Association of the Ohio State. No, but and this is where the coaches got to come in. Dave's got to come in and say, hey, listen, it's not just happening to you. You've got a decent amount of tape, okay, and you have to, again, you got to put their lives first. Don't give a damn. You sign, you might not get to sign that rookie contract because you get COVID, and what if you pass away? Okay, or what if your boy passes away? You know what I mean? Like, they're not. You're in college. They're not thinking. They're thinking for themselves. Remember how we were when we were in college? It was just us, me. You're not thinking big picture. We can solve all the problems in the world in college. It's just a little utopia. The real world is something different. So I don't know. Well, listen, hey, Joseph, great stuff, Papa. We appreciate it, man. We'll see you on Wednesday. We got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, our man, my main man himself, is Davis, with the Barry White Jr. coming up. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Kenneth Davis coming up next, right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Well, the Vegas line to the left wing corner. Sent it off the side of the net. He scored! And that hit the post. And then Leonard in the back and tumbled into the back of the Vegas net.
Blackhawks radio, Matt Highmore's goal gives Chicago a 2-0 lead as they go on to beat Vegas 3-1 in Game 4 of the Western Conference first-round playoffs. The Hawks staying alive. The series now with 3-1 advantage in favor of Vegas. But teams will rest up today and play Game 5 tomorrow night. It's a 9:30 Central puck drop.
High fly ball deep into right field. Backing up is Fowler. This one is gone. Way out of here to right.
Yoan Moncada with the 3-run blast on the White Sox radio network in a 7-2 win over St. Louis on Sunday. Keston Hiura and Orlando Arcia hit homers, leading the Brewers past the Cubs 6-5. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
School goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to masks.
And all at amazing prices. This week, select one-subject notebooks and Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 10 cents each.
Select notebooks and folders for a dime. That really is amazing.
Plus, you can shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 8/22. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Indeed knows that for any business, your next step is the most important one, like hiring someone who can make a real impact. Indeed can help you find high-impact hires faster, without any long-term contracts, and you pay only for what you need, thanks to our super flexible payment options. So why not take that next step with Indeed? Get started with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high-impact. That's Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday, baby. Man, the weekend. I hope you had a good weekend, folks. I want to say great weekend. It was a good one. I didn't do much. Went to a friend's quinceañera yesterday, and last minute, almost forgot about it. Oh man, that's a whole nother story. And then the drama for your mama at the quinceañera. It was quite interesting, let me tell you. But you know, I'm glad to be back. Glad to be talking sports with you. Glad to see a Blackhawks win yesterday. That was Corey Crawford from 2013. I'm going to talk, and we have some other stuff that I want to talk about. So I want to bring on my next guest. You know who he is. He's been here plenty of times, and he comes on at the 10 o'clock hour. My guy from formerly the D and Davis Show. You can find him on Twitter. That's Davis. Guys, welcome back. But what I love that bass voice, bro. Man, that's dope. You know, man, that David. Kenneth, what's up, Papa? How you doing?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Well,
wait a minute. I found out about this quinceañera and the drama. You're gonna have to give me some of that. Right? But I'm just one of those things. All right. So let me say something inappropriate real quick, right? In this Mickey month. I know, like I was brushing my teeth for getting ready for the show, right? And dude, I have the absolute worst gag reflex in the world, right? So there's no chance in this world I could ever went the opposite way. No dissing anybody from the LGBT community. But if I get to hit the back of I was actually brushing my tongue. I hit the back of my mouth and start gagging, and I start earling. And like my son hears me, he's like, "You all right?" And like my whole family knows it, right? If I say I was brushing my teeth and I gag, they like, "Oh, hey, there he goes," or whatever. So now my throat is scratchy as you know what, right? These are the things I do for you when I brush my teeth anyway. These are the things I do for you on this Monday. But yeah, listen, I know a little bit later.
We appreciate it.
This Blackhawks discussion that you pushed my ass into, which, listen, I know we're going to talk baseball. I just want to know, especially in that first period, is anybody trying to protect Corey Crawford, or is it just be a superstar? No, because
do it by your own.
Listen, I don't even like watching hockey, especially when it's the team that I favor, when we spend all our time, especially the first period, on our end out there on the ice. And it's just like, dude, are we going to get down there to Vegas side or what? Like, so anyway, that shout out to Corey Crawford. All right. It makes it funny all the years that people want to run his ass out of town. It's hilarious. I was reading an article last week about basically him being the best Sox goalie ever. And I told you about how I was mad at the Hawks because I didn't get to appreciate El Belfour. I didn't even know when I was a kid that Dominic Hasek was really even on the team, Dominator. You know what I'm saying? Just because we weren't allowed, they blacked out the games here. But that's
home games, yeah.
And I will keep that hate in my heart, Shawn, and you will never take it away.
Hey, and I told you when I text you back, I said the old man wasn't even cold before home games were on, where they were on cable, man. I'm telling you, Rocky had the vision. Rocky knew. And
you know what, Shawn? Though, you would think, and I mean, this is one of those things. Looking at an old business mindset, if you're not getting enough fannies in the seat, you can still make up a large portion, if not all that money, with advertising and sponsorship. So you're basically cutting off your nose to spite your face doing this. Because remember, even back when we were kids, and it never happened, but the threat that the Bears games would be blacked out if enough people bought tickets. They used to be like, man, like, yeah, right, go ahead, try black out this game on this Sunday or whatever. But that used to be the threat. In some grocery store, somebody allegedly brought the tickets.
Yeah.
And the game didn't get blacked out. And it's like, yeah, I mean, as a kid, I was like, yeah, you try to black out that Bears game and it'll be hell to pay. But yeah, so I have an interesting history with hockey due to that. It wasn't that I didn't care for it growing up, and I still think the puck should glow. Enough said.
Yeah, that was his team, and you know, some people just make their ideology, and he thought that way, and it definitely wasn't the way, and that's where when Rocky came in, I told you he was like, "Whoa, he's dead? Come on, home games on," and the exact opposite of what Papa Wirtz thought. He thought people wouldn't come if you can watch the home games on TV. In essence, if you watch it at home, you're like, dude, that looks dope. I want to go.
Right.
The exact opposite, and Rocky knew it. But it's just, as you grow older, as generations, everything evolves. Okay, and so this, Rocky had a top-notch education, and he got to see things that his dad didn't, because his dad brought him had run the team for so long. Just before, it's like us in technology. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not technology. You ask our 8-10-year-old kid, hey, can you do? Yeah, sure, I can do this. Dad, here you go. What? It took you 4 seconds. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's different. And and I was fortunate, and I could have been in your same boat, but I was fortunate enough to work at the Chicago Stadium because I was an Andy Frain usher.
Mm-hmm.
So my love for hockey went through the roof after that, and basketball as well. So, I could have been in your same boat had I not worked for Andy Frain because, you never would have got to know the players, because what if you couldn't watch it that day? What if on the West Coast? Okay. And then they start at 9:30. I got to be in bed. You know what I mean? As a kid, I can't watch them, but if it's a 7:00 start, 7:10, 7:30 start, I can watch a little bit of it. Yeah. So it was, I feel your pain, bro. I feel your pain. I'm not trying to take it from you.
Yeah, I will never forgive him. Yeah, I will never be a consistent hockey guy on this. I refuse, and I will fight but we do sports, so it's not like it was entertaining. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm happy that I didn't watch a loss, even though the series is basically over. I'm happy. I like to see some of the stuff the kids did, some of the stuff the fourth line did. But again, definitely we'll get on that when Ron joins us later. We did finally, and we talked about this Friday. So we suffered another series loss. All right. Yep. Talking about the White Sox, a team that has been COVID shut down for a couple weeks, came in here and basically ran through the White Sox.
Yeah.
And Sunday, you know what? Especially for you, being someone that goes to the games. I know for me, I always ended up being at the games on the weekends. And, Sunday's games are kind of like, we may just throw this game away. You know what I'm saying? Because you the pitcher, whoever the pitcher's going to be out there, one of the star player usually is sitting. You know what I'm saying? So to sit there after a doubleheader and basically they had like 18 kids in there when I'm talking about the St. Louis Cardinals, from Kinsner to Raul Ramirez. There was Raul Ramirez, who just bodied, right? And it's one of those things where as a kid just coming up, that doesn't really even count for the White Sox hitters. It was great watching the back-to-back, all right? Especially the last two, because you was like, is it going foul with Abreu's?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eloy's. It's like, is it going foul? Is it going foul? It's like, no. It was, listen, I enjoyed it. It was nice to finally see Moncada get off his nine since he hadn't been hitting. And also, when you look at Yasmani Grandal with the speed of his bat, I'm surprised his didn't go the furthest with how fast he hit that bad boy. But to really get down to what does it mean, I don't know, because they was going up against a rookie. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
how am I supposed to know? Talking about Ricky, I don't know what was going on when Mendick took off running for second. When you had Tim Anderson sitting there basically about to walk. Now maybe he wouldn't have walked him if first wasn't open, but the kid didn't have any control of his pitches anyway, so it probably would have been another ball. So I mean, again, now I'm nitpicking, right? But if this was a closer game, something like that could have missed. If that kid wasn't didn't have the yips and give up all those home runs, who knows what could have necessarily took place. You saw Dallas Keuchel kind of lost it. Ricky should. I know you usually do this, and the trainer came out with him. So once the trainer comes out and we kind of know, okay, so there's something going on with you later on. He talked about bat tightness when he was talking to the media. You should have just pulled him, especially when he's your stopper anyway, and he didn't have it. You look at Cordero was good at the beginning of when he came in relief, and then he kind of lost it. As a whole, outside of the bats coming alive on Ramirez, it wasn't a terrific game. I mean, Dallas Keuchel basically gave up his usual 3 runs. You know what I'm saying? With him, I mean, it was 2, but if basically what I mean is Keuchel usually it's no less than 3 runs. You guys go out and get me 5 or more. Basically, is kind of how it goes when Keuchel's out there pitching. So Keuchel definitely was doing his thing. I'm not concerned about him, but still, it was a good feeling game. But it wasn't a game where I'll come away from it thinking like things are figured out. I'm kind of looking at this season, and I know we talked about this with Ivan in the past, and would they use this against Ricky? And I'm looking at certain things, and I do think it's like, dude, let's get this going. All right, let's kind of figure this out, because you're about to waste this little run that you have with all this talent. And it just, I don't know, man. And then on top of that, and again, this is just me being me, ESPN keeps showing Fernando Tatis Jr. every other second. It breaks my heart. I know I shouldn't care. I'm one of those people that can let things go. I've let Patrick Mahomes go because the Bears wouldn't have drafted him. Only person that could have drafted him, made him the quarterback he is basically. It's probably Andy Reid or Sean Payton. So that's out. And I've let Deshaun Watson go. But when they keep bringing up Tatis Jr., I just think about like
we had him. He was in our system.
All these riches that we had, and he would have been the cherry on top. We would have been arguing about him and Robert. Like, dude, what? And it's just like And it's,
so,
go ahead.
So if we kept Tatis, no Tim Anderson, or is he in the outfield?
Hey, as being a brother, I fight for the brothers, but he's just gonna have to be a second for a minute, and you didn't go worry about Nick Magical, all right? Because at that point, remember initially we thought Yohan was gonna have to play second before the move to third. I would have just moved him over. I would have moved him over to second. I mean, and to be honest with you, listen, Fernando. I mean, again, he may have 8 years of being a shortstop. But he's basically one of those, and he's not a stick, but those Alex Rodriguez modes, those Cal Ripken modes where he may grow out of being a shortstop at one point in his career, how tall that kid is, and he starts putting on some weight. But yeah, I mean, again, I love Tim Anderson and everything he stands for. But if you're talking about this kid may be the best, he may be in the top 5 in baseball, yeah, I want him on my team. I'd be stupid not to want him on my team. Now, if he was like top 30, then yeah, it would be easier for me to let it go. But when you're getting lambasted with, this is the guy you
another home run.
Yeah, because you wanted Shields. It's like, what? I want to wring Kenny's neck, right? Because I feel like that was the last Kenny move. And again, I do protect the blacks. I want to wring his neck because me and D used to get into this argument that year. The Cubs and the Sox both started off hot. And I used to tell him, I say, the Sox is BS, right? Like, they not think they're for real, right? And they sat there and tried to make a run when we already knew you should start rebuilding this damn thing. And you went for Shields, and also it also just shows you the value that you had on that kid. You didn't even have the right value on him, which that's alarming to know that you had him in your system. And even if he's not producing at that height, you still didn't gauge his potential, his ceiling. Like, you totally missed out on what his ceiling was, basically, or you didn't think it could come to fruition, which is, again, is shocking. It's one of those things that people are going to be saying 30. If he's as good as he's supposed to be, it's going to be something like 30 years from now. People talk about that trade, like, well, who got traded for this player? And something's going to be like, I'm going to be in the old folks' home slapping my forehead. It's just, again, it was a good game. I'm not reading a lot into it. You got the Tigers coming back up. Now let's start punishing some of these teams that we deem as being weaker. We're sitting there. We're in the middle of the pack when it comes to the Central. All right. Let's start kind of putting some ones on top of these twos and twos on top of these threes.
Yep.
And start to put some distance and start to really focus on getting into the playoffs. Because now I'll say this: you need to, with these players, see and get them into this playoffs, because it can be such a benefit to next year. One, you're only going to have 60 games. And listen, when I say 60 games, that's if you guys don't get sick. We still act like these guys, somebody can't catch it. Right. It's like you was talking to Joseph earlier, which both of you had great points about Justin Fields. And like you said, Justin Fields, I know Justin Fields has only had one season, transferring from Georgia, so he only had one season under day. So, of course, you want 2 for your preparation, but kid, you're set as the second quarterback in next year's draft. You're top 5. You're good. No reason to die. But getting back to the Sox, we don't even know if they'll get sick or if they run into one of their opponents who gets sick, or a couple teams that get sick. So either you got to play doubleheaders to try to get those games back. But how many doubleheaders can you play when it's closer to the playoffs? But to the point is, you need to get in the playoffs because it's ratcheted up. It's more games for these younger players to play in. But the ratcheted up atmosphere, we want to see how they react in that setting, and we also want to see how they're managed by Renteria in that setting also. But it's it's time, dude, or I'm gonna stop watching.
And that was the next thing I wanted for us to talk about was, he did that, and then I'm watching this morning at Oklahoma State. They come back and they let the kids in on campus, and 20 kids got campus in a frat house. 20 kids got COVID in a frat house. So This is what you got to deal with. This is exactly what you got to deal with, and this is why I'm such a big proponent of just pushing it back. It's not you're playing with people's lives. That's the only thing, and this is why I don't understand what the issue is. Okay, if one kid dies, a lot of that money that you made is going to be shelled out in a lawsuit.
Right.
Okay? Not to mention the public relations backlash. And God forbid, with more than one kid. What if 3 kids from those 3 conferences, one from each, passes away? You know what I mean? Or again, what if it's one of the parents? How about this? What if it's one of the parents who came down to see their kid? Okay, and he has it, gave it to them, and they died, and they have a pre-existing condition, and the kid's fine. There's so many different very moving parts in here that there's just there's no reason to even have this conversation. Say, look, I know you sponsored for football, for this commercial, that commercial. You're still going to have it. It's going to be in the spring.
Right. And dude, I'm going along with what you're saying. You have all these kids coming from different backgrounds. And the point why I'm making that, piggybacking what you said, we still don't know why some people react to a certain way to COVID-19. Like we still don't understand why some people are violently ill and other people are asymptomatic, right? So like when you have a whole football team, so you're talking about like 100 guys and not including the trainers and the coaches, chances are, and I hate to say it because it's not good, knock on wood, that you're going to get someone who's violently ill, and those chances dramatically increase with the volume and amount of people that you have that are connected to one another in these places. And we saw with, for instance, like the Pac-10 and some of these other organizations that these players have started to create, that they, like, from school to school, there's different criteria as far as really trying to take care of these players and making sure everything right. Some schools, some players are like, I'm not going to play you because you guys aren't even really doing anything over there, which also exposes the BS with these coaches and universities about, student athletes when you clearly don't even care about them. And on top of that, you basically have to bring back the real student parts of the student body in order for you to keep the lie going that these guys are professional athletes. So now, getting what you're saying, now you're bringing the frat kids back, right? And mind you, and on top of this, those kids don't need school to go back because they're paying rent unless they got out of their leases. So some of them are going to leave home because it's like, dude, I'm not going to stay up here with my parents. I'm about to go down here and hang out with Becky, right? Good old times, right? The football team's going to come by the house on Phi Yega Mega, like go around. Now let me get ready. Now, when you go around, now I don't know, maybe it's some HBCUs, but when you go to these like universities here that are predominantly white universities, institutions, you go down and they got the sorority and fraternity row.
Row, yeah.
Money, they got some money that they pledges and pledges it over there. The football team usually finds its way on that row sooner or later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
And just like with allegedly the St. Louis Cardinals players went out to a casino. Right. And these are allegedly grown ass men. What you're saying when you're talking to Joseph, these are kids. Dude, I'm telling you, if I'm on a college campus, I'm already away from my family, so I don't have to worry about affecting the older adults in my house. I'm getting it in. Right. I hate to say it. I wasn't, even though I did actually for maybe a year, I was actually, and it was on purpose, I was actually celibate for a period at school or whatever. So it's not that it couldn't have been done, but dude, I don't know if I would have been going through that, and I would have wanted the company of a young lady or young ladies, hopefully. Probably 3 in that semester, if not more. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you move or whatever. So it would have been, it would have been hard for me, especially, like I said, when I'm taken away from the fact of I'm not affecting my family members, one thing you alluded to. I would have told them not to come down there. But dude, it doesn't make sense. When I saw Justin Fields did that, I was kind of like, kids, slow down, because you're not one. Again, I think I get it, because he wants to try to hit the NFL running, right? And 1 year with one of the better minds in offense in college. I'm talking about a guy that's getting close up there a day to Leak and Riley when it comes to this dude knows his offense, all right? Mm-hmm. But you got the film. If Trevor Lawrence wasn't coming out, you would be the #1 pick this year, right? The only person you have to worry about is the North Dakota kid. He's not going to jump you because he's not going to be out there playing, and he only had 1 year basically. So you're going to look at you come from a bigger conference, you come from the Big Ten, you're fine. I get you want reps and stuff like that, but like as you said, these kids aren't thinking about what if your lungs are one thing to be compromised, especially as an athlete, with you affecting your capacity to breathe in air and accumulate oxygen in your blood system, helping out your body. That's one thing. But what about the other organs that they're saying that this thing could perhaps mess up? And when you come to those owners, and I think I've said it on the show before, it's like, shorty, you used to be able to run that 4.3 in the breeze, and you like a 4.5, and you huffing and puffing, right? They're not going to be like, here goes more money because, you took this risk from COVID in college. That has nothing to do with me, right? It has nothing at all. That was on you, kid. I'm said NFL team. I have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be easy on you. So it makes no sense for you to be. I feel sorry for the players, like you said about yourself and how you didn't get a chance until senior year in high school. I feel sorry about players in that situation. Even players that are like the walk-on guys, even mid-tier guys who will maybe work themselves into the first round or the second round. You know what I'm saying? Those are I'm not saying I don't feel sorry for Justin Fields, but Justin Fields, your life is set. I'd rather you not play so you get all of your money, right? Because they can't say, all they can say is you didn't play. No one played. It'd be different if opted out, but no one played. Or if they play in the springtime. You know what I'm saying? Cool, but man, shorty, slow down with that. And you and Trevor Lawrence, again, if they fighting to get money, I get that, even though you guys are risking. This is a lot for you to put on one generation, all right, because they have an opportunity because of what's going on socially, that maybe they can change the system as far as these players getting taken advantage of for all these years. That's admirable. But you may change your life forever in doing this. And again, people make sacrifices for other people, and that's a great thing. But I just want those young men to be cognizant of some of the risks that they would be taking.
Last thing I want to talk about, we didn't get to talk about it last week, is because he's coming in today. The Bears are bringing another quarterback, North Texas quarterback Mason Fine, for a tryout today. And let me tell you, this kid is he's a ball player. He is a ball player. He is he's one of the things about him, though. He's come from a smaller school, okay?
He itty bitty.
Yeah, he comes from a small school, and the kid is small. Say he's 5'9", maybe, or 5'10", which means about 5'8", maybe 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
But this kid is a baller, man.
It's clutch.
This kid is a baller.
He's a thirst striker, though, Shawn.
I'm like, I don't think he's gonna come in and kill it or start, but man, dude, in 4 years, he got 12,000 yards passing. 12. All right. 91 touchdown passes. Dude, that's hard. I don't give a damn if you are FBS, FCS, FBS, FFS, whatever level. 91 touchdown passes, man. That's tough. That is a feat in itself. And you know what? Maybe he can stick around, like you said, be a practice squad guy. There are plenty of small college guys who've gone on to have phenomenal success in the league. So I applaud them for bringing in a guy like this who obviously is a standout at his level. When you're bringing in guys who aren't from the Power 5 conferences, the first thing you have to do is they got to stand out. You have to dominate their division. And 12,000 yards in 4 years, that's dominating. That's pretty damn dominating yourself. And his first year, he only threw for 1,500 yards freshman year. So, we're talking 10,000 yards in 3 years, an average of 3,000 yards a year. 1 year he had 4,000. Come on, man. Your due diligence demands that you take a look at him. Demands it. So
that's cool, Shawn. Bring little man up. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's. Listen, if you're telling me the next year perhaps this guy is your backup because you moved on from Mitch, I kind of feel like we'll be in the same situation that we were last year with what was the backup? Chase Daniels, Lil Chasey. It's like, you know what? There's only one Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen it. I was looking because when you sent me the file on this kid, what's the 40 time? Because if Shorty 5'9", boy, he better be able to scoop. If he's 5'9" and he's a stand in the pocket guy, man, shoot, butterfly, don't bother me. Because you better be. Because listen, he better be able to reset the pocket to be able to see, you know what I'm saying, through the lineman. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I look.
If he's 5'10", then Russell Wilson's that about 5'10". Drew Brees is about 5'10".
Two greats, all right.
But Drew was able to. But it's been so what I'm saying, it's been done. Is what I'm saying.
It's been done. Yeah, it's been done. It's been two greats. But also, those guys played in big conferences. I mean, Russell finished in the Big Ten, and Drew played his whole time in the Big Ten. So I'm just listen. I know it's bad up here. I mean, we grew up Bears fans, so we know how important the backup quarterback is for the Bears, boy. I mean, put P.T. Willis in there, like, dude. We know how. Yeah, dog. You know how how we feeded for whoever Moreno. Like, man, forget it. Put the backup in there, right? And it's like it's for the most part. And I was an Orton guy, so Drew Brees made me an Orton guy because I love Drew Brees at Purdue. So I enjoy Kyle Orton at Purdue. So I was always an Orton guy here. And when Rex Grossman got hurt and Orton didn't get any reps, and he had to play without getting preseason reps like that. But usually the backup quarterback spells trouble, to say the least. So, I mean, again, I hope for him, though, that he can get on someplace because those are some mind-blowing numbers, though.
Listen, we got to take a quick break. We're a little over, and on the other side of the break, we're going to bring in our guy. We're going to talk a little more Black Hawks hockey with our man from the On Tap Sports Net, Ron Luce, who covers the Hawks as well as the Cubs. We're going to talk with him. So stay right here, guys. Ron Luce from the On Tap Sports Net coming up next right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
The Vegas line to the left wing corner. Sent it off the side of the net. He scored! And that hit the post. And then Leonard in the back and tumbled into the back of the Vegas net.
Blackhawks radio, Matt Highmore's goal gives Chicago a 2-0 lead as they go on to beat Vegas 3-1 in Game 4 of the Western Conference first-round playoffs. The Hawks staying alive. The series now with 3-1 advantage in favor of Vegas. The teams will rest up today and play Game 5 tomorrow night. It's a 9:30 Central puck drop.
High fly ball deep into right field. Backing up is Fowler. This one is gone. Way out of here to right.
Yoan Moncada with the 3-run blast on the White Sox radio network in a 7-2 win over St. Louis on Sunday. Keston Hiura and Orlando Arcia hit homers, leading the Brewers past the Cubs 6-5. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
School goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to masks.
And all at amazing prices. This week, select one-subject notebooks and Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 10 cents each.
Select notebooks and folders for a dime. That really is amazing.
Plus, you can shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 8/22. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Indeed knows that for any business, your next step is the most important one, like hiring someone who can make a real impact. Indeed can help you find high-impact hires faster, without any long-term contracts, and you pay only for what you need, thanks to our super flexible payment options. So why not take that next step with Indeed? Get started with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high-impact. That's Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday. And whenever we would on Mondays when the Bears would play, it was always Bears Victory Monday we would have. It's pretty cool. But today is a Hawks Victory Monday after an unbelievable performance by a man who I guess it was a 2015 Corey Crawford was behind. It was in sweater between the pipes yesterday up in Edmonton, and it was an amazing deal. We want to talk to this guy. This guy is a hockey fiend. He works for the On Tap Sports Net, covers the Hawks there. He covers the Wolves for the Rink Official. He's a podcaster. He's a writer, man, and he's a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at RNLD Luce. That's Luce. Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Ron Luce. Ron, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, Shawn, I'm good. Thanks for having me, man.
Dude, look at it. He's decked out. You got the Kirby jersey, the jersey. You got the Dennis Savard jersey, and framed Dennis Savard jersey. I love it. Dude, let's get right to it, man. The first, second, third, fourth, and fifth divided by KRS-One. I'm number one. Oh, no, I lied. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stars of the game yesterday was Corey Crawford. Without him, it's end of the season.
Yeah, Corey Crawford was unbelievable yesterday. I mean, 48 saves on 49 shots for him was the official once they went back and looked at the game, the league, that is. A 980 save percentage when you're 35 years old and you just had COVID about a month ago is pretty spectacular if you're Corey Crawford right now. You got to feel pretty good about yourself, really. I mean, as most people know, he is a free agent after this season, so performances like that could certainly earn him another contract. That's for sure.
Do you think that performance can garner him a 1-year deal or 2-year deal here in Chicago? You know, because he showed last night that he still has it. He may not have it every night, but here's the thing that I thought was funny. Immediately after the game, when they interviewed him, if you saw it, and he thanked the defense. I was like, what defense? You talking about the Swiss cheese defense that your guys employed? Is that the defense you're talking about? What defense? What defense are you talking about in front of you? Because there was no defense. They talked in the post game. Conroy talked about his shots, the shots that went just wide of the net, or the shots that got blocked. There were 96 shot attempts in Vegas. 96. That can't happen again.
No, you really can't. I mean, 49 shots alone can't happen. I mean, I'm pretty sure Vegas had about 35 shots through 2 periods. So, yeah, it's just defense obviously hasn't been the Hawks' strong suit, unfortunately, over the last 4 years or so. We've gotten pretty used to them being in that bottom third of the league in terms of shots given up. But, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Corey Crawford, he found a way to channel his old self. I think he's earned a 1 or 2 year contract somewhere. I'm not necessarily saying it's outside of Chicago. It absolutely could be back in Chicago since Stan traded away the insurance plan at the deadline. There's a very good possibility that it is Crawford coming back in net next year, especially if they either sign a kid from overseas, whether that's Europe, Russia, or they draft somebody in the draft this year at goaltender. That they're going to try and develop into a starter. Because unfortunately right now I look at this team and I just don't think anybody in this pipeline, period, outside of Corey Crawford is a starter in the NHL.
Ron, let me ask you this. How long would it take, for instance, if you drafted a kid, would you feel comfortable with that kid usurping a Crawford being re-signed? Because he's playing phenomenal, all right? So you really don't want to let him walk. But I feel like since he's playing so phenomenal, we kind of forget some of the concerns when it comes to concussions and some of the injuries that he has over the past. I like Corey Crawford enough. I don't want him to become concussed again because you get your bell rung too much and he's done so much for this organization. You would hate for him to be compromised in his earlier age. So one, would you feel comfortable re-signing him with a kid under him who may be thrust into action because it could be one ding and Crawford is out? Or do you think now we're past the point of being concerned about Corey Crawford's concussion history?
No, I think that's something you absolutely have to be concerned about. Corey Crawford has had really, I mean, you can align the Blackhawks' success with Corey Crawford's health. As soon as his health started to take a toll, you really started seeing them lose a lot more games. And that really began in that, that 17-18 season, really, when we got the likes of Jeff Glass playing goaltender for the Chicago Blackhawks. days that I'm happy are behind us. But it's just you gotta. I think that's definitely something you have to weigh. Is his health really? I mean, he's 35 years old. He has a family. And he's taken a lot of dings to the head. As a former football player myself, I didn't even take that many severe dings. And some days I'm like, ooh, yeah, I couldn't remember that today. I'm glad, So I think it's a legitimate question. I think to answer the second part of your question though about a young goaltender, it really depends. If he's a young goalie that maybe played over in Russia for maybe 4 or 5 years type thing, maybe you feel a little more comfortable thrusting him in kind of just out of the blue, really. Like you said, if Corey gets hurt, it's one ding and he's done. But that's being said, the realistic way that they're going to bring in a new goaltender into this organization is probably via the draft. And that requires probably 3 to 4 years, especially a goalie. I mean, Corey Crawford's a good example of that. Corey Crawford didn't make his debut until 4 years after he was drafted. Mm-hmm. So it's really something that they got to keep an eye on. But I would say right now, it really does look like Corey Crawford's coming back to Chicago, probably on a 1 or 2 year contract just because they have nobody else. But they're going to have to beef up what's behind him because otherwise, like you said, one ding, he's done, and then they don't really have an insurance plan in place. Their insurance plan is currently manning the net across from them in this Vegas series. So,
look, real quick, you brought up youth when you talk about bringing in a goalie or whatever. Of youth, what about the young guys that are getting so much tick in the playoff? Is it a debt? Some of them aren't stepping up right now, or should they still give these young players more time on the ice and more experience in the playoffs?
I think it depends on the young player. I know it's a bit of a loaded answer, but right now, I mean, I look at what these guys did yesterday. Like Adam Boqvist is only playing 11 minutes, and over 2 of that's on the power play. Same thing with guys like Alex Nylander. He's only playing 8.5 minutes, and over a minute of that's on the power play. If you honestly think these young guys are going to be a part of your future, i.e. Kirby Dach, i.e. Dominic Kubalik, i.e. Adam Boqvist, guys of that nature, yeah, absolutely. This playoff experience for them is invaluable. Just in terms of their maturity and as they grow as NHL hockey players. But at least me personally, I look right now, you got to get Alex Nylander out of there. He has not provided anything meaningful to this team in the playoffs at all. I know he's this untapped potential player, and you hear that word thrown around so loosely nowadays of, oh, he's got potential. Great. What kind of potential? He couldn't make it with a Buffalo team that's been bad for the last 10 years. And he was a top 10 pick. Clearly something's not connecting there, but Stan has his fascination with former first-round picks, so that's why he was brought in. But I think guys like him don't need to be playing. I'd rather be giving a guy like a Brandon Hagel, who's another young player, that opportunity to show off what he can do. We discussed this a little bit on our Four Feathers recap of Game 3, and that was, the history of the playoffs shows that young guys can come in and make an impact and earn themselves a roster spot. Think about Ben Smith, Brandon Saad, and Andrew Shaw. They all started as, they're just getting a one-off game in the playoffs. And that's really how people started to learn who their names were. So I would like to see that instead. But at the same time, Kirby Dach, I mean, he's arguably been the best player on the ice for the Blackhawks in this playoff series. So the more ice time you can get him, the better, because he's going to be a pillar in this foundation of this team for a very long time.
Guys, we're joined by Ron Luce from the On Tap Sportsnet and the Rink Official. Man, let me tell you, and we're talking a little Blackhawks hockey right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning at SportsZone Chicago. Let me ask you this: is it possible for us to go back and get Robin Lehner? He's a free agent. He signed a 1-year deal with us. It was a $5 million deal, all guaranteed. So he's a free agent at the end of the year. Is that something you see that the Hawks would do? Because this guy, you see what you first of all, you knew what he can do in net. Otherwise, you wouldn't have signed him. He's a 2-time Vezina Trophy finalist. Mm-hmm. So they don't just give anyone a finalist or put you in that finalist category for no reason. This guy's only 28 years old. You talk about drafting a young kid. 4 or 5 years, 6 years, that only puts him at 30. That puts him where Corey Crawford is right about, and give or take about a year less, and then that goalie is ready. You're just gonna have to hit that a pretty high cap hit, and I don't know, is that something they want to do because of you still got Seabrook on till was it 24, 23, 24, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. And he's getting a $5-6 million hit. And he's really worthless, to be honest. Do you think that's a possibility, going back and getting Robin Lehner? Would he want to come back?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the question. And just backing you up, 23-24 is what Seabrook's contract runs through. But there's a lot to unpack there, right? I mean, the first bit, like you said, is would Robin Lehner want to come back? Obviously, if I were in his shoes, I would feel like the organization did me dirty. Yep. You know, they were the only team that he reportedly said that didn't ask about his addiction. They didn't care. They believed him and believed his word. And you know, when an organization puts that much faith into you, you feel almost kind of loyal when you've been down that track that he's been down. And then when he wanted simply just a multi-year contract, the team balked at giving it to him. And then obviously he was dealt to Vegas, where now he's their starting goaltender for these playoffs because Marc-Andre Fleury was having a rough season. That being said, there's a chance that Leonard doesn't even make it to free agency. There's been whispers abound, and my source for the whispers is Jeff Osborne from the Rink. He's heard through the grapevine that Vegas is possibly ready to offer Leonard about a 4 or 5 year contract at about that $5 million mark. And he sounds like he's going to accept it. And that being said,
I would.
Yeah, but my thing at least is just, if you're the Hawks, you really couldn't give him that. And because at least from what I've seen so far this playoffs, and this is where this again is kind of a loaded response, is because I do believe they could afford Robin Lehner long term at a $5.5 million cap hit, because I think the NHL is going to give teams multiple compliance buyouts, very similar to what they did after the 2013 shortened season because of the lockout. I would expect something very similar. So I could see the Hawks buying out a Zach Smith at his $3.25 million cap hit, as well as an Andrew Shaw at his $3.9 million cap hit. I honestly think Seabrook rebounds next year, especially after hearing that he had been dealing with his back issues for 10 years and he played through it. And he would literally said that he couldn't sit down and go to the bathroom because it hurt that bad. That man's a warrior. So I think he's going to come back and be fine. Obviously not worth almost $7 million, but I think he'll be a fine defenseman going forward as long as he's healthy. But I honestly, the more and more I see it and more I think about it, I really think you're going to see this organization prioritize the combination of Dominic Kubalik and Kirby Dach as top 6 forwards over Dylan Strome and Alex DeBrincat. I wouldn't be surprised if DeBrincat 6.4 gets moved this offseason. He struggled in terms of scoring goals this year. He only had 18 in the abbreviated 70-game season, and was playing more or less the entire time in the top 6. Kubalik didn't start the season playing in the top 6, and he still had 30 goals in 70 games. He's really kind of become that player I think they were hoping DeBrincat would be, and he's a little more physical, and he's obviously a little more mature because he played professionally over in Europe. So I think, if Robin Lehner's willing to forgive, and if maybe it was McDonough that was like, no, we can't give him this kind of money, and now that he's gone, and maybe he's like, all right, look, I get it, the big bad villain over here that wasn't willing to pay me is gone. Maybe I'll give you guys a second chance, but I don't know. If I'm Robin Lehner, if you told me, hey, you can go play for Chicago, who has, as you mentioned earlier, Swiss cheese defense right now, or you could stay here with us in Vegas, who are in a competitive window, who have, in my opinion, the best team defense in the league, just because of how they're structured. Which one do you want? And you're going to make the same amount of money doing it. If I'm Robin Lehner, I'm staying in Vegas. So what I think is going to happen, I think Lehner does not come back to Chicago, unfortunately. But if I were the Hawks, I would be doing everything in my power to try to get him back in Chicago.
Ron, real quick, you mentioned the fact that they may have buyouts, a couple buyouts for teams. How will that be affected? Now, I know that COVID didn't take over Canada the way that it's decimated us here down lower south. Mm-hmm. But we know since the NHL is tied to the Canadian dollar that's why the cap is so low. The cap should be shrinking, I still would think. I mean, especially for a team that's at the cap like the Blackhawks. So how, even if there are buyouts, will they be hindered even more by the cap, perhaps by shrinking due to the fact of the COVID-19 virus?
Yeah, well, the NHL thankfully came out and said they don't plan on dropping the cap at all, which is good. But however, it will be a stagnant cap for a couple of years. They guaranteed, I think, at least this next coming season and the following season, it'll stay at 81.5, which was the cap going into this year. And because of that, that's why I think they'll do the compliance buyouts, because you're going to have big markets teams. Toronto is one of them, even though Kyle Dubas says they're somehow not in cap trouble, which is a total lie. And like the Hawks and these other big markets that are going to have cap issues. And if you want those teams to be competitive, which then, gets you TV ratings, which then gets you ticket sales, it's so on and so forth. You're going to want to give them flexibility to make moves this offseason. And I think that's where that compliance buyouts come in. Just because like during that 2013, a traditional buyout affects your cap. It might reduce how much you say, or it'll give you extra cap savings up front, but it'll punish you on the back end. In the case of a compliance buyout, it will give you freedom no matter what, because it is a zero cap effect. It is just a clean, we're going to pay you, but you have no impact on our cap for the rest of your life. And that's where I think, that'll potentially save the Blackhawks, because you figure if they buy out Smith and Shaw, that's approximately $7.1 million, I believe, if I do my math correctly. And you still have Corey Crawford falling off the books with his $6 million. If they trade DeBrincat, which could be a possibility, it's another 6.4. Not re-signing Strome saves you money potentially as well. That gives you what, 12, 13, $14 million of flexibility. Granted, probably 6 of that goes right back to Dominic Kubalik, but I think that'll give them a good opportunity to rebound a little bit, because of like what you said. Right now the NHL is unfortunately tied to the Canadian dollar, and until the TV contract in the US is up, which I believe is either 1 or 2 years, it's coming very soon. I don't expect the cap to move much at all in a positive direction because of what COVID did to the economy. So I think just to short answer your question, I think it is going to hurt some teams. And that's why I think you're going to see the NHL try and help some of these markets get out of cap trouble and give them a little more flexibility going forward. I also think that gives you a more intriguing offseason, because you're going to see a lot more guys potentially hit free agency that maybe wouldn't have hit free agency before, assuming the cap was going to go up after this season.
So is there a possibility? And guys, we're talking around loose from the On Tap Sportsnet and the Rink Official on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So that because there may be a little a bigger run on free agency, that where the Hawks could possibly go find another goaltender?
It's possible. Unfortunately, right now the goaltending class is kind of weak going into this year, or at least what I should say is the planned goaltending class. And the reason for that is, Corey Crawford is probably one of the top 3 names that's on the free agent market.
We go get him?
Yeah, seriously. I think we can get that guy. But then the other 2 are Robin Lehner and Braden Holtby from Washington. Unfortunately, Braden Holtby and Corey Crawford are about the same player at this point. I don't think Holtby's as good as he used to be, unfortunately. And I do believe he hits the market. I don't think Washington wants to bring him back. That being said, there's not really a guy out there that's your goalie of the future, unfortunately. Lehner was that guy. And even then, I think Lehner was still only probably a 5 or a 6 year plan at the most. I don't think he was going to give you anything much more than that, kind of similar to what Corey is right now. That being said, if they want to fix the goaltending, their best bet is the Askarov kid in the draft. Unfortunately, the Hawks playing themselves out of the lottery essentially by winning against Edmonton may have potentially hurt their opportunity of getting Askarov. So that completely throws a monkey wrench into things too. So the Chicago Blackhawks should be relishing this playoff run right now, because it's going to probably get very ugly this offseason. And there's really no sure thing as terms of a contingency plan for the future at goaltender.
Real quick, because what you brought up is a question I want to ask you. And you brought up a goalie, but I was going to say, if you didn't get in the playoffs and you could have got Alexis Lafreniere, or a better chance, a 12-point something chance to get him, would you as a diehard prefer for them to just suck it up? Or do you want more hockey from your team, so you prefer them to go into the playoffs?
I've told this to friends and people that I was having conversations with before the play-in series started, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some nasty Twitter remarks. I actually would have wished they just would have lost the Oilers. Give us the 12.5% chance to get Alexis Lafreniere, get a player that literally they've been talking about him since he was 15, 3 years ago when he was, they were saying, hey, 2020 is going to be a really cool year. Yeah, this Lafreniere kid's going to be a stud. And they're like, wait, why are we talking about him? And it's like, oh, well, he's 15, but he's already dominating in the Quebec Major Junior League. And everybody's like, oh, okay. I would have rather had the chance to go get a guy like that as a team. And at least then if you don't get number one, you're still picking, 8, 9, 10. Askarov is likely there at 8, 9, 10. So the beauty of that would have been go big, Lafreniere, or get the safe pick with Askarov. You got your goalie for the future. Now you're probably going to pick 16, maybe 17, depending on if there's a major upset with a team like Montreal. Or if Montreal loses, I believe they get 16. So now you set up at 17. There is no guarantee Askarov is there at 17. And quite frankly, at that point in the draft, if you look historically, the talent gap between picks 12 and 28 are really not much different. Mm-hmm. So at that point, you're just saying, hey, who do we think is a safe bet to make the NHL and at least make an impact? Maybe he's a guy that projects as a really good third line center, but he can play up and down the lineup if you needed him to as a wing, like a type of play, maybe like an Andrew Shaw, but more of a scorer. If that type of guy is available in the draft and he's only maybe a year or two away, maybe he's a college player, then you kind of need to start looking that avenue. But I know myself, I am wanting every outlet to talk as bad about Askarov to every other NHL team. So he falls to 17 and the Hawks can get him. And if that's the case, I'm going to sleep a little better at night into the future, at least, because I'm not looking forward then going, oh, yeah, no, we literally don't have any hope after the season. At least then I'm like, okay, there's hope in net, in 2 or 3 years. So, but like I said, I know a lot of Blackhawks fans are going to be mad with me about that, but they really just hurt themselves, unfortunately, doing what they did and beating Edmonton. And I mean, it's been cool. It's fun being able to say they made the playoffs. They got a playoff performance in. It's all great and dandy, but did you really just hurt yourself now?
I'm with you all the way. Yeah, I'm with you all the way.
Guys, he's Ron Luce from the OnTap Sportsnet and the Rink Official. Hey, buddy, I appreciate your time. Great stuff as always, man. Our people really, I enjoyed it. I know everybody else who watched it, who heard you enjoyed what you had to say as well. You can find him on Twitter at RNLD Luce. It's LUCE. Where else can they find you?
Twitter is definitely the best place to find me. But again, you can find all of my work. You can find me at OnTap Sportsnet. So that's www.ontapsportsnet.com. You can also find some of my stuff over at The Rink. So that's www.the-rink.com. You can find me at both of those sources. But yeah, Twitter's a great place to find me. I'm always sharing everything that I do for both sites. So, be sure to follow me there. And, I went on a little bit of a follower spree yesterday. I was very excited about that. I jokingly put out I was close to 1K, and we're almost at 1K. So who knows? Maybe we'll get there today or tomorrow. But
that's right. You're at 988. The last I saw, 988.
Yeah, we're getting there. Hey, 88 and 9 in the city of Chicago are great numbers. So
this is true.
It's not a bad place to be right now.
Hey, great stuff, buddy. We'll be in touch soon. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate you.
All righty. Guys, that was Ron Luce from the OnTap Sportsnet and the Rink Official, talking Blackhawks hockey. Man, we lose Kubalik, we lose a Brinket. Brinket hasn't been as productive as much as we would have wanted this year. He showed a lot of flash last year. We were excited to see him this year, and he just hasn't lived up to his potential this year. Man.
Yeah, this wasn't the year to get into the playoffs, man. I'm just being honest, man. Like,
you're right.
It wasn't the year, especially when you're in a situation where you're at the cap and that Canadian dollar messes up. And we know how long it's messed up the Blackhawks in general of always having to let players go. You're sitting there, you got rid of Q. Your best bet was to double down on trying to get the best player that you was going to get for cheap moving forward, because you can't basically move one of your best players in Taves, because even though he played better in this earlier on in this playoffs, no one's going to pay that type of money. I mean, and dude, to be honest with you, and just going on roster, you can't let Corey Crawford go. And dude, I don't want to see anything bad happen to Corey Crawford. And this is something I've been saying for a minute while I'm over here fighting the centipede. My daughter hates insects. But while I'm over here fighting, like, came out of nowhere. But dude, I've been saying that for a minute. One thing I did want to talk to him about was with Taves and Canes, but we didn't get enough time. But that was definitely some great hockey talk. You kind of got me with that one, Shawn. You kind of got me. You pulled me in with that one.
I knew because Ron, the way Ron is very engaging, I was like, yeah,
you got me. I didn't even get to talk about the Savard jersey back there, but you got me, Shawn. You got me.
And listen, we got to take a quick. Hey, thanks for your time this Monday, this House Music Monday. We'll see you on Friday again, maybe even Wednesday. We'll see how that plays out. But hey, good stuff as always, buddy. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
We'll be in touch the next day or so. All right.
Y'all have a great show. See you.
All right. We got to take a break. On the other side of the break, Jason Palmer. He is one of the hottest new shows on SportsZone Chicago. It's called What Up Cuz. He's going to join us next. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning. Coming up with Jason Palmer on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
For the Vegas line to the left wing corner. Sent it off the side of the net. He scored! And that hit the post. And then Leonard in the back and tumbled into the back of the Vegas net.
Blackhawks radio, Matt Highmore's goal gives Chicago a 2-0 lead as they go on to beat Vegas 3-1 in Game 4 of the Western Conference first-round playoffs. The Hawks staying alive. The series now with 3-1 advantage in favor of Vegas. But teams will rest up today and play Game 5 tomorrow night. It's a 9:30 Central puck drop.
High fly ball deep into right field. Backing up is Fowler. This one is gone. Way out of here to right.
Yoan Moncada with the 3-run blast on the White Sox radio network in a 7-2 win over St. Louis on Sunday. Keston Hiura and Orlando Arcia hit homers, leading the Brewers past the Cubs 6-5. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
School goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to masks.
And all at amazing prices. This week, select one-subject notebooks and Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 10 cents each.
Select notebooks and folders for a dime. That really is amazing.
Plus, you can shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 8/22. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Indeed knows that for any business, your next step is the most important one, like hiring someone who can make a real impact. Indeed can help you find high-impact hires faster, without any long-term contracts, and you pay only for what you need, thanks to our super flexible payment options. So why not take that next step with Indeed? Get started with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high-impact. That's Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday, baby. It is a wonderful, wonderful day in the Chi. Look, the sun's coming out. Man, I was coming back from CrossFit this morning, and man, did not look good. There was some storm clouds overhead. It was getting a little cool. Man, I made my mom put on a little sweatshirt for our little walk. Man, let me tell you, it was, and all of a sudden now the sun's out now. 80-something degrees. Man, Chicago's just bipolar, I guess. Well, anyway, let's check it out. our next guest. He's going to sit in with me for the next hour to close out the show. He's a good friend of the program. He is also one of the co-hosts of the hottest new show on our platforms called What Up Cuz. Him and his cousin Lancey Irvin. Man, he's an award-winning journalist. He's an official when season start again. And he's a great all-around dude, man. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Coyden. That's JayToyden. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Jason Palmer. Jason, what's up, Papa? How are you?
What's up, man? Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Look at you. Sit out in the balcony of your the crib over there with a little nice little background. I see you.
Yeah, man. Wife learned how to make mojitos over the weekend, so I was lit watching the Blackhawks.
Oh man, he's like, honey, if I didn't love you, believe it or not, I love you even more now, sweetheart.
Man, I had to tell Maya and Lance, man, we don't have no show script yet because I was lit last night.
And you're gonna be out later tonight at 6 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, big show tonight, Sean. Big show tonight. We got Scoop Jackson coming on. Scoop is on the show tonight.
Scoop Jackson. That's right. He's from the South Side, Luther South.
The South Side, Luther South. Yes, my Luther South brother. He's gonna come on tonight. We're gonna talk to these NBA playoffs and talk a little WNBA with Scoop. And Scoop's got a new book that's out, so we're gonna talk about his book. So Scoop is the main person. And then we got a talented young lady named Shamir Little, who is a USA track and field athlete. She is from Chicago. She went to Lindblom. There you go. That's right. Swoop. And Shamir, unfortunately, because the Olympics get postponed, she's not over in Tokyo, but definitely a good chance for her to be going next year in the 400-meter hurdle. So she's going to talk a little bit about something that you know about, track and field and CPS, and how we can really work those programs, man, because, some of our best athletes could really be a beast out there in track and field, but, systematically CPS got some issues with that particular sport. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, for me, I always thought it was the most important thing, being a football coach and defensive coordinator, that you be the track coach, right? Because you got to keep your kids active. If you're not playing basketball and if you're not wrestling, you're running track. And even if you're one of the fat boys on the line, guess what? You're throwing that shot put, you're throwing that discus. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're still doing those sprint workouts with my sprinters. Okay, so yeah, so it's I had phenomenal success with it. As a track coach. And then one of the things when I was at Curie, they had their cross country guy. It was funny because it was very, very weird. He had all the Hispanic kids running cross country, and then they ran distance during track. And then all the black kids were running sprints. That was the combo. That was the recipe, and we won. We won a couple of track meets. Definitely finished a lot higher than we would have because we just got points.
Right.
Because we just got points because we had people in various events.
Yep.
And you forget how those points add up so quickly. So we had a nice little squad, man. And it's important to keep kids active, to keep kids off the streets, keep them occupied. So when they get home, they don't have time to go out and act a fool. They got to go home, they got to eat, they got their homework. At that point, it's time for bed.
That's right.
And keep them out of the streets. And that's what I was very fortunate to teach for so long and have those positions, those coaching positions to do that, and help those kids. And it was fun. So I'll definitely have to tune in tonight and check out.
Yeah. Without doubt, because Shamir, Lindblom finished third place in state that year, and she got all the points. She won like 3 events down there and finished second and third in the 2 other ones, and they ended up getting third place, and she got all the points. That's called a track team, a one person track team.
Yeah, I've seen some schools who have that same situation. Yeah, that's crazy. But let's talk about our White Sox yesterday. Back to back home runs yesterday. Put a little smile on the faces of White Sox fans. I want to ask you one of the questions that we asked at the top of the morning. Did the power outage? I know they came back and won a couple games because Dallas Keuchel, kind of challenged them. But does that power outage, does that concern you at all with the White Sox for those few games where they were that little losing streak they had before Keuchel said something?
Yeah, I've definitely got some concerns with the White Sox, Shawn. I know this team has got power, but they need to be able to consistently put the bat on the ball for hits. It wasn't so much that they weren't hitting homers. Saturday was a complete just disaster. They got 2 hits in the first game and 3 hits total in the second game. That ain't gonna cut it. That's just not going to cut it in baseball. You have to consistently be able to hit the baseball, especially when your pitching staff isn't that strong to begin with. And I know they're dealing with some injuries, but this team has got way too much talent offensively to play like that. And what really made me even more mad was St. Louis didn't arrive until Saturday morning. They had drove up in 41 rental cars and basically had made it to the stadium like 90 minutes before game time. They didn't take batting practice. They hadn't played in 2 weeks. And they went out there, the White Sox went out there and played like complete crap, Shawn. And, again, this is Ricky's, final swan song as far as I'm concerned. I just don't like his managerial style. I don't think this team is I don't like their attitude. I don't think they're hungry enough. I think they goof around too much. I think they're not hungry until Tim gets back into the lineup. And there's no doubt Tim is the leader on that team. And I think, Keuchel stepping up and saying what he said was important. I'd like to see some more of that. I don't know what goes on in their locker room, but, they're just not consistent enough, So they're about to play 4 games against Detroit. So we'll see what happens here in these next 4 games. But they got to get their act together, man.
One of the things that I said, and a lot of people look to me stupid, and I'm like, okay, that's why I can't talk sports with normal people, because they say they think, oh, that's silly. I'm like, okay. And this is where I talked about small ball. Here's where I talked about you got guys who can run. Okay, Lewis Robert, you better learn how to bunt. Madison, learn how to bunt. Moncada, learn how to bunt. Okay, hell, even Jose Abreu. If you're having a problem, okay, you need to stress the defense. If they're not giving you balls to hit out of the park, then you need to stress the defense. You have guys with enough speed. You have guys who can move guys with speed over. Then you need to learn how to bunt. You need to get on base. You lose it 2-1, you lose 3-2. All right, you're not going to hit homers all the time. You're going to have to put the ball down, put it in play, and make those third basemen, make those pitchers feel their position, stress this defense. And they're not doing it. I'm like, this is with the talent that you have, and the speed that you have, at least 4 guys can lay down a bunt. And unfortunately, those 4 guys are Yoel Moncada, who has a over 100-mile-an-hour exit velocity. Tim Anderson is the leading the American League batting champion. Lewis Robert, who can hit the ball out of every single ballpark in Major League Baseball. Okay, well, why would you not use that weapon or add that weapon to your arsenal? And there's going to come a point in time where you need a run. You might have to manufacture a run, and this is one of the things for me, Ricky. This is one of the things that I'm upset with Ricky about. Like, this is what you got to do, and not all the time, not every game. I don't need to see Yoel Moncada button every game, or Tim Anderson button every game, or Lewis Robert button every game. In key situations, you know what? Let me get a hit. We need to start a rally. Boom. Let me lay one down. Let me put the pressure on the third baseman. One, get the ball, because he knows I'm fast as hell, so he can't get it in the glove. It's got to be barehanded. So one, he's got to catch the ball and cleanly. Two, he's got to make an off-balance throw, and it's got to be on point.
Well, you know what, Shawn? It's not even if you don't successfully put the bunt down, you can actually do a fake bunt, which will actually stretch the defense. It'll make that third baseman creep in, just the fact that you squared around to do it. Sure. In my career in high school at Luther South, I batted either first or second throughout my entire career. It was definitely a arsenal that I would use. You got to be able to keep the defense kind of off balance, especially where you're seeing now in Major League Baseball where everybody's playing these shifts. Man, I wish somebody would have played a shift on me back in the day. I wish they would have played a shift on me. I would take that base hit every time. And it bothers me to death to see Moncada and they go into a shift and they give him the entire left side,
left field,
and he just won't poke it. Even if you're not bunting it, you could just knock it over there, man. Get you a base hit, probably a double in most situations, just because of the way they're playing the defense. I don't like that. I agree with you 100% on that. I know people are saying that the bunt in baseball is kind of going away, similar to what they said the stolen base. I don't believe that. I think, styles change in every sport, because I actually think the big man is going to come back in the NBA at a certain point too, down in the low post. I think, one team is going to get smart and say, okay, if everybody's got shooters, we're going to get us a post person and go to town down there. I just think that's where baseball is. A lot of people don't like the bunt. I still love it. I think it's an important offensive weapon. And, here's the thing. Yesterday, the White Sox executed an actual hit and run. They actually executed one. I was like, thank you. That's what you all need to be doing. You need to be executing the hit and run. You need to be trying to bunt for a hit. Hell, you can even do a squeeze play. Even if you want to do a safety squeeze every once in a while, you have to have all those weapons in your arsenal. You just can't hit the ball out the park all the time. Because bottom line is, baseball playoffs are played in the fall, and it's going to be cold, and the ball ain't going to be flying no way. So you better be able to execute some runs, some offense generating somehow, some way.
But even then, to your point, when it's cold, you don't have gloves on your hand. And that ball, when that ball comes and it's cold, it's easy to slip out of your hand. If you lay a bunt down, just so many different things. And again, I'm not trying to make these guys St. Louis Cardinals of the '80s with Ozzie Smith and Lonnie's, but man, use what you have. Okay, that's who brung you. And we've seen Louis Robert run the bases and patrol right center to left center field. We've seen Moncada go first to third. We've seen Tim Anderson score on a bloop single from second. We know what they have. Use it, and that's as a former coach, that's what frustrates me. Even though I wasn't a baseball manager, I understand talent and how to maximize it.
Right.
And my thing would be, get these jokers on base by hook or by crook and run. I don't care if you get thrown out 20 times, because guess what? If you get thrown out 20 times, it means you're probably going to steal 25 to 30, maybe 50, more than probably 2-1, because that's not a popular or a tactic that's used in Major League Baseball, the stolen base anymore. But now, again, it just puts so much pressure. So it bugs me, and I just think the White Sox need to reevaluate that. And in key situations, I think it's good. What do you think about the quarterback from Ohio State who wants to who's petitioning?
Oh boy,
is it just kid, a college kid being a college kid, and Justin Fields acting crazy like, I want to play. Listen, Jason, and I get it, because we were college kids, and we thought we could change the world, and that's a great thing to have at that particular stage. There's got to be adults to say, listen, dude, this is not, the season hasn't been postponed because of a scandal, because of cheating, because we're talking about people's lives. No hands or butts. Why is this conversation even happening? Listen, if you only have a year of tape, guess what? It's good enough. You damn well it's good enough. People around you know damn well it's good enough. Just chill. Why? Because I'm telling you, I saw literally this morning, just went back to Oklahoma State University. There's already an outbreak from a frat house.
Yep.
Okay. So make it safe, make it easy, make it, move the season to the spring. I know it jacks everything up in the spring and spring training and the combine and the draft. I get it. How many people do you want to die? What about the auxiliary people? So, I talked with Kenneth last hour. I said, what if not a player dies, or what if some parents die who came to see you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or what if some of your parents come and they give it to you?
Right.
They don't realize there's so many different moving parts and variables that you don't even know. And these kids don't want, but they're just looking at, I want my senior year, I want my last year, I get my tape, I want that money. And it's, man.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why auto insurance rates are highest for that group. Okay, let's just be real, Shawn. There's a reason why 16 to 25 male, your auto insurance premium is through the roof, and this is the perfect example right here, because you're taking unnecessary, silly risks when you don't have to. You literally could just sit down and wait. The virus is dictating this thing. Unfortunately, human beings are being human beings. And, this is why, you have age limitations on certain things in life because we will kill ourselves. Young men will kill themselves over the craziest things. I think you've got a combination where you have institutions which are greedy for the money, and then you have this young male dynamic. So, my cousin plays volleyball for HBCU. Lance Irvin's daughter, Brookie, is a starting setter.
Okay.
She lost her volleyball season. She's disappointed about it, but she ain't sweating it because she's like, I'm not about to go out there and take a risk of getting sick and die, And of course, dying is the ultimate thing that can happen. But what a lot of people don't understand is that this virus, man, it's messing up a lot of people. There was a 40-year-old young woman in Chicago who's in perfect health who caught the virus. She spent 3 weeks in a coma, and they had to do a double lung transplant on her because the COVID, had gotten in her lung so bad. The only way they could save her life was to give her a brand new lung. So, those are the things people are not thinking about. It's not just the death rate. It's the people who dealing with serious medical conditions, and we don't know what some of the long-term effects are going to be. I just wish they would shut the whole thing down. Me, of course, I'm also concerned about all the referees who are out there. When you talk about the auxiliary people, you're talking about the guy who holds the down marker. You're talking about the trainer on the team. You're talking about the physical therapist, the massage people, hell, the water boy.
Yep.
There's so many
managers,
the managers, all the coaches. I mean, in football, you guys got 25 coaches out there. I mean, it's a lot of people you gotta really consider. And I just think, he's doing what most 20-somethings do. He was thinking about himself, and it's sad to see that. But I think they're gonna go ahead and forge ahead with the season. And I think barring them having a death or a serious injury to a player, they will keep going forward as much as they can.
I don't know if they're going to move forward with it. I know they say they're going to move forward with it. I don't know. I think there's going to be something at the 12th hour is going to happen, especially if you continue to have things, because Oklahoma State's in the Big 12. So you do that, and remember, Big 12 that was a swing conference. Out of the 5, if the Big 12 was playing, then SEC and ACC are like, well, see, they're playing, so fine.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, if they reconsider, I think the SEC and the ACC I don't think this college football season is going to happen. I don't. I hope it doesn't happen in the fall. I just, maybe when I was a kid, I might feel the same way as Justin Fields. I might. Okay. But I'm not. And it just, you have especially dealing with, how I take care of my mom, and you see how so many people are at risk.
Yes.
And, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. All the money you paid for your commercials and everything, they'll happen in the spring. All the radio ads, all the coaching shows, they'll happen in the spring. It's all it is. And I just think it just boggles my mind that the conversation is happening. But I don't think the football season is going to go on. There's going to be an outbreak at one or more of the universities, and at that point, they're going to come back and say, "Well, after further review, we decided to, which you should have just done in the beginning, and made it easier, nice and clean, nice and easy." But no, you're right. The one thing that I always said is that I quoted Oprah on this show before when she said, "When people show you who they are, believe them." And college football is about money. They've never hid from it. They've never denied it. They never skirted the issue. They're about money.
Right.
That's all they're about.
Well,
so realize that's what it's about.
And another thing too about that, Shawn, too, is and I laugh at this all the time, is that unfortunately the virus has become politicized. So I mean, those conferences you're talking about, look at where those schools are playing.
Oh, yeah.
You just talked about Oklahoma State. Well, the president of the United States just had a big rally there a few months ago, and one of his main people died. Yet they're still trying to push forward in Oklahoma. Where are those schools from? Texas, Oklahoma, the SEC, all down south. Unfortunately, the virus has become political. So they're all red states, and all those red states, Florida, Georgia, all of them, they're trying to push forward.
What about the governor from Florida? Said, hey, NCAA, have all your TV. I can hold the entire collegiate football season in Florida. I'm like, didn't they just shut down Florida again because of the COVID virus? Didn't they re-shut down Miami? I'm like, what's wrong with this knucklehead?
Yeah, it's rough, man. Unfortunately, that's what's happened in this country, man. And we've found a way to politicize a virus, for Christ's sake.
Everything, man. That's insane. That is that's insane. So did you hear? I don't know if you heard. The Bears are bringing a new quarterback.
I did. I heard that. I heard you guys talking about that, and I thought it was really funny. We had a Peter Tom Willis reference on your show.
Yeah, P.T. Willis, baby.
But
Willis.
I think all competition is good competition. I think go ahead and bring them in. Bring everybody in because I'm still not confident in the quarterbacks we have in camp right now. I'm definitely not confident in Trubisky. I just think the young man, unfortunately, does not know how to read defenses. I think he has some physical talents, but I think he struggles with reading defenses. And I think that's his major problem. Then we have a journeyman quarterback who I believe can read defenses, but physically he may have some limitations. So, and then to top that off, we have a coach who doesn't believe in giving the ball to the running back. So you've got a recipe there for some not good things to happen. We'll see. This could be very interesting if the NFL season even gets to happen, but it will be interesting to see who is willing to change on the Bears staff. Are they willing to change some of their philosophies to try to work with the talent that they have? Because I love David Montgomery. I really do. I think he's a great back. I hope the offensive line has improved because I think that's the key to this whole thing. I don't think we really focus on them or not, but those big boys up front, one of the reasons they couldn't run the ball last year was because there was nowhere to go. And as a running back, if there's no hole, what am I supposed to do? So
then I got to act like Barry Sanders, and I was not Barry Sanders.
Right, man. I mean, you got to have someone who can open up the holes for you. So for me, that's where I'm going to be putting a lot of my focus this year on watching the Bears. I want to see the battle in the trenches because I think, offensively and defensively, that's where the game starts. I think if the Bears defensive line can get back to really putting that pressure on people, I think it's going to really help them out a lot and help get them off the field a lot quicker. And I think they got to run the ball. You got to find a way to run the ball.
See, and but that's the thing that Nagy doesn't do, and this is what bugs me. Is like, okay, so you want to continue to put Mitch and Nick Foles behind an offensive line that's in shambles. But you had a guy, you had Kyle Long. Kyle Long was the heart and soul of that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The two tackles had horrible years last year. Okay, horrible. They had one good year, one bad year. So Charles Leno Jr., jury's still out on him, despite the fact he got his money. Bobby Massey, same thing. And you're still flipping the left guard and center. Okay, and hopefully we got that situation. So the offensive line is not set. Okay, because we don't know what they're going to be. You go and switch offensive line coaches. You put the blame on Harry Heastand. Okay, and fire him when you got guys who are injured. You have guys who are having poor years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then now they got to learn a new system. They have to learn new terminology. You have to deal with a different coach. You got to figure out that right guard spot. And the one thing that we had JJ Stankovitz on last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, here's how you change that run blocking. You tell these jokers we were running the ball 3 times a game, X amount of times, whatever game, whatever you deem important. I said, so if we have 25 plays and we said 24, we're running 24 times, 24 are going to be runs. And that changes the mindset of an offensive lineman. When you know that you're going to be able to, you're going to start pushing people around and moving people, it changes your mindset going into every single game because it's nastier. Because you don't have to be that nasty to pass block. You just have to keep people away. Run block, you got to be an animal. You have to be a total beast. And that mindset is that's what's going to happen on pass block. Because if I dominate you here, and you think, and you all of a sudden think it's a run block, and now I get you off balance because you thought it was a run, and now I can dominate you again. This is the mindset. Like I know it because I played football for so long and coached it, and I'm like, but you're at the NFL level. Why don't you know this?
Right.
Why don't you do this to your team? Hey, David, I know you didn't have a good year last year, but we're going to run. You're going to get 20 carries a game. Period. You're going to get X amount. Any other running back we have going to X amount. You're getting 20 carries a game. Change the mindset of the offense into attack mode.
Yep.
And it's starting. You said it, and we all know it as well. It starts up front.
Yep.
This guy's going ready to seek and destroy, and you watch how much better this offense is.
I agree.
Listen, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk NBA action with our guy Michael Bolden from seeing people leaving the bubble. This is exciting. The Bulls fire the head coach. So we're going to ask Michael. Sorry, Jason's doing a happy dance here. We're going to ask Michael his thoughts because I want to get a national view because I know there was a party. They thought it was a riot. They're rioting. They're happy because they fired Mike. They fired Boylan the other day here in Chicago. That's what that was about. But anyway, I want to get a national perspective of the firing of Jim Boylan. And is this a premium job? We're going to find out from Michael Bolden from CBS and the other side of the break. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Well, the Vegas line to the left wing corner. Sent it off the side of the net. He scored! And that hit the post. And then Leonard in the back and tumbled into the back of the Vegas net.
Blackhawks radio, Matt Highmore's goal gives Chicago a 2-0 lead as they go on to beat Vegas 3-1 in Game 4 of the Western Conference first-round playoffs. The Hawks staying alive. The series now with 3-1 advantage in favor of Vegas. But teams will rest up today and play Game 5 tomorrow night. It's a 9:30 Central puck drop.
High fly ball deep into right field. Backing up is Fowler. This one is gone. Way out of here to right.
Yoan Moncada with the 3-run blast on the White Sox radio network in a 7-2 win over St. Louis on Sunday. Keston Hiura and Orlando Arcia hit homers, leading the Brewers past the Cubs 6-5. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
School goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to masks.
And all at amazing prices. This week, select one-subject notebooks and Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 10 cents each.
Select notebooks and folders for a dime. That really is amazing.
Plus, you can shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 8/22. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Indeed knows that for any business, your next step is the most important one, like hiring someone who can make a real impact. Indeed can help you find high-impact hires faster, without any long-term contracts, and you pay only for what you need, thanks to our super flexible payment options. So why not take that next step with Indeed? Get started with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high-impact. That's Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday, baby. Woo-wee. I'll tell
Beautiful day.
I was jamming some Julian Jumping Perez this weekend, boy. Ooh, that's my guy. That's my guy, Julian Perez, man. We were jamming some house music. And, actually, my next guest, I think he tuned in for a little bit on the live party. It was good, man. He got some house music out in D.C. where he's at, man. We're going to bring him on. He is a senior NBA editor for CBS Sports, and he's a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at mbolden, that's BOHLIN, mbolden CBS. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Michael Bolden. Michael, what's up, buddy? How are you? Thanks for your time, bud.
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me today.
Oh man, no problem. if I'm not mistaken, didn't you tune in for a quick second on my live party this week?
I'll always check it out when I can, a little bit here and there. You know, I'm getting a little house music every now and then.
House music all night long. Say what? It's good stuff, man. So yeah, that was a good weekend. You know what? It was even a better weekend because we got the news. It started off that Jim Boylan got fired, and that's what the riots were in Chicago. They're like, "What took you so long?" And that's what everyone was going crazy about. They were celebrating in the streets. It reminded me of the Joker in Batman, where I believe it was with Jack, and he's just dancing in the middle of the street.
It's a party, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and because
and they start throwing money everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how he felt. Like, you know, and it's not that Jim Boylan's a bad guy. He just wasn't equipped to be a head coach. He's one of those guys. You know, people they use the expression "stay in your lane."
Yep.
Stay in your lane.
Yep.
His lane is being a good assistant coach.
Yep.
And he's got a resume to prove it. Well, once you're in that front seat, if it gets time, it takes time to get from the back seat to the driver's seat. And sometimes some people aren't made for the driver's seat, and I don't think Jim Boylan was.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you just look at it, kind of just his entire tenure there, with how it started, and obviously, I guess about a year plus of him just really not being a successful coach, and I think part of it really just boils down to the way that he was unable to really connect with his roster, and maybe the ways that he wanted to do things, like the strenuous practices, the punch clock to check in when you get to the facility, things like that, just not going to resonate with the type of roster that Chicago has right now. And obviously the new front office that came in there when they overhauled that during the offseason, that they felt the same way. And obviously there was reports a few weeks ago that Boylan's job was probably going to be safe due to financial concerns. And then obviously things changed after that. So, yeah, it's going to be a new era in Chicago there. They should have plenty of very qualified candidates to look at. And, they have enough young talent on that roster where I think it would be a job that would be, in pretty high demand.
So you took your great minds think alike. You kind of took some of my thunder, because I was going to ask you this: is it a job that is or is it a premium job? I mean, no, we're in Chicago. We're in the third largest market, maybe fourth after Houston, but who cares? We're the third largest market in the country. The infrastructure we have here is phenomenal. The facilities with the Advocate Center that was built some years, recently, basically years ago. You're in the heart. You talk about dining. Everything that you want from a big city is here, and then some. Is it a top job? Because we've never been able to bring top athletes here for top free agents, whether it's by hook or by crook, or whether it's by design. We never had a well-known or a seasoned head coach. Is this a premium job to have? Because Brooklyn has an opening as well, and that and there you're in New York, and you got Kevin Durant, you got Kyrie Irving. But where does this kind of fall with in line as far as attractive jobs?
Yeah, well, I mean, as you noted there's a good chance that Nets job opens up, that they don't retain Jacques Vaughn full time. And he's been a name that's been floated for Chicago as well, if it does kind of go that way and he doesn't get the job in Brooklyn. Obviously, you have the New Orleans job that just opened up this past week as well, and that's going to be a very attractive opportunity just because of the players that they have on that roster, being able to work with a Zion Williamson. Potentially, if they retain Brandon Ingram, they have a lot of young pieces there that would be attractive to a bunch of coaches, I would imagine. But I would probably put the Chicago job right after that. I definitely think it's a more attractive job than the Knicks right now, just in terms of not only the front office you'd be working with, but also the pieces that you have. So, yeah, I mean, I probably right behind the Pelicans job there. But, I think there's plenty, in the cupboard, for lack of a better phrase, there for, anyone who's going to come and take over to really be attracted to that job and think that it's something where you can get a quality coach, whether that's a Kenny Atkinson type of guy who, honestly, I think would be a great fit just because of what we saw he could already do with a young roster in Brooklyn and build that team into what is expected to be a contender now that they've been able to land those top-tier free agents to go along with what was built there. But, there's going to be a lot of different A lot of different names that come up for the job. Obviously, we've already heard a few rumored. Ime Udoka from the Philadelphia 76ers, Kenny Atkinson, like I said, Adrian Griffin, Wes Unseld Jr. A lot of people who have previous ties to the new front office in Chicago are likely to be considered. And, I think there's going to be, regardless of what direction they go, I think the foundation's in place there where fans can feel a little bit better about the future than they have in recent years with who was running the show.
As we're joined by Michael Bolden. He's a senior NBA editor for CBS Sports, talking about NBA action right here on Shawn and Maya in the Morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey, Mike, real quick. Everybody know the NBA is a players' league. What is the sentiment of the players around the league about Chicago right now?
It's difficult to really gauge. Obviously there's so many different players, so many different opportunities, and every summer, kind of the landscape of free agency and how it works is all going to be different. I don't know if you guys saw it, but a few weeks ago, Scottie Pippen did an interview where he noted that he doesn't think it's really feasible for Chicago to build a championship contender by going out and trying to land those top free agents like we've seen New York do year after year after year and really struggle to do it. Whether I fully agree with that or not, I'm not sure. I do think Chicago is a very attractive city. It's a very attractive opportunity for a lot of players for a lot of different reasons. But I do think there's a sense that I agree where, maybe the best way for them to do it is to build through a draft, build a foundation where, like I just referenced with Kenny Atkinson in Brooklyn, where you can build to a point where, it's more than just, hey, we're Chicago. Hey, we have these facilities, the United Center, the history, the banners hanging up. It's more than just that, the allure of the nostalgia, but actually presenting players with an opportunity where they can look at it and realistically say, hey, I can come here and win now, because that's what the top players want to do.
Yeah, without a doubt. And on that note, as we start talking playoffs here, right now, it seems like the balance of power is definitely in the Western Conference, without a doubt. Both LA teams are strong. You got Houston, they can get hot. Portland, Dame is a beast. He's probably going to give LA fits in the first round. So I think, we focus a lot on the West, but talk to me a little bit about the Eastern Conference as they get ready to start. Who do you kind of like coming out of the East there?
Yeah, and I think the East is going to be a lot more interesting than it has in recent years, where it was really just LeBron running through to get to the finals every year. I look at the Eastern Conference this year. Obviously, you got to think the Bucks. You look at them as the favorite, but even right behind that, Toronto, I think, is a very real threat. Obviously they lost Kawhi Leonard last year, but Pascal Siakam has really upped his game, turned into a star. Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet are just terrors on the defensive end for certain teams, and Lowry's more than capable of lighting it up on the offensive end, as we've seen in the bubble as he went off against the Lakers. So you look at those teams. I think Boston, when healthy, which they seem to be now, if they're able to put things together and kind of keep their core together and healthy through this, I don't see why they can't make real noise in the Eastern Conference as well. Once you get past that to the Indiana, Miami's kind of 4 or 5 range, I think it kind of you really take a step below the true contenders to get to the finals. But I wouldn't be shocked if any of those 3 teams really made it out of the East.
Man, I'm thinking the West. I also thought, the Bucks have a shot with Giannis. Just that team just is so strong. He's playing at an unbelievable level. I just to watch that young man develop as we have over the last couple of years has been phenomenal. Talk to me a little bit about going back to the West. Talk a little bit about Portland, because they gave me Logo Lillard, they like to call him, because he likes to shoot from half court or step over. How serious of a threat are they to the Lakers?
I think it really just depends on what Lakers team we get starting on Tuesday night. Obviously, if you watch their 8 seeding games in Orlando leading up to this point, they were very underwhelming on offense. And the one thing we know about Portland is they're going to score a lot of points. They've proved that throughout their 9 games, obviously with the win against Memphis and the playing game to get here. Can they defend enough? Maybe that's going to be, what the Lakers need to kind of get their offense on track, is just, multiple games in a row against a team that really hasn't shown that they're going to do much in terms of rebounding or really stopping other teams. But, if the Lakers offense struggles, I think we've seen to this point already that Portland's got more than enough firepower to really, light up the scoreboard and keep things interesting. But I really think it boils down to what they get out of their big men in terms of Portland. Obviously, the Lakers are going to go with their two bigs at almost all times with Anthony Davis, either paired with JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard. If the Blazers can get, the type of performance they got out of Yusuf Nurkic against Memphis on Saturday, coupled with good performances from Zach Collins, assuming he's healthy to play. Obviously, he was held out of the majority of that game on Saturday. And Hassan Whiteside's got to be more of a net positive player than he was against the Grizzlies. At times, there was just instances where each time down the court on both ends, he was either messing something up on the offensive end or just giving up way too easy looks on the defensive end. So I really think it boils down for Portland's chances. I think you know what you're going to get out of Lillard and McCollum just about every single night. But if their bigs can play at a high level and really compete with the Twin Towers, essentially, that Los Angeles puts out there, I think they can be competitive.
Hey, Michael, Giannis in Milwaukee, everyone's got them kind of as the favorite here in the East. But living here in Wisconsin, there's also a fear from the people up here that Giannis is going to bolt after next year. Because it is a smaller market in, Chicago, not too far away. I know Giannis has got a younger brother that plays ball here in Wisconsin, who he brought over from Greece, so he's very close to his brother. How conceivable could it be for the Bulls, if Milwaukee especially gets bounced in these playoffs, that Giannis, next year maybe the Bucks are listening to a possible trade to get Giannis down to Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that you can't rule out. Obviously, as you noted, Milwaukee, as good as they've been the last few years with Giannis really leading the charge, it's still very much a mid-market team. Whether they're going to be, obviously they're going to throw as much money at Giannis as they can once they're able to do so. But if he doesn't sign an extension, if they don't make it to the finals this year, and you start getting those creeping in of doubts in your head was, well, is he really going to stay here long term? Are we going to lose him for nothing like the Thunder did with Kevin Durant going back a few years? Do you want to put yourself in that situation as a middle market team, knowing that you're probably not going to be able to attract the type of talent and free agency that you already have with Antetokounmpo? So, if they do get the sense that he's not going to re-sign, if that's something that really starts gaining traction, whether it's Chicago or it's another team, I think Milwaukee would be wise to listen to whatever's out there. Whether they ultimately pull the trigger on a deal for, someone who's probably going to be back-to-back MVP, that remains to be seen. But in those situations, it's you really got to look yourself in the mirror and say, do we want to commit to this and see if we can get one more run out of it and get to where we need to be, or are we going to be content if we fail and he walks and we end up losing him for nothing?
Guys, we're joined by Michael Boland. He is the senior NBA editor for CBS Sports, talking little hoops right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Talk back to this Bulls job. Some of the candidates that you had mentioned, one of them that I really like, and I hope he gets, is Mark Jackson. He got a rough deal, I guess. And everyone thinks Steve Kerr is a man, that started, but Steve Kerr took over what Mark Jackson had built. All right, where they started playing defense and they started running up and down the court, and despite the high scoring, that team was literally built on defense. People don't realize that, because Steph Curry's, he likes to shoot from half court and everywhere, basically anywhere around the court. You just saw the offense and the shooting, but it was defense. Give me a legitimate your thought of the possibility of him being the coach for the Chicago Bulls team, because I would love it. Because if we can build this team on defense, we have the young athletes. We have the Wendell Carter Juniors, we have the Zach LaVines, the Lowry Markkanen, the Kobe Whites. We have those young guys to get up and down the floor to push it, and actually make some noise and be a 21st century NBA team and not stuck in the 20th.
Yeah, no, obviously. At this point, to what I've seen, Jackson has not been connected to the opening as of yet. But just, in the piece that we put together over at CBS on potential candidates, our Jasmine Wimbish put Mark Jackson down as one of them for a lot of the main reasons why that you just noted here, how he has worked with these young rosters before. He has built teams to get to the point where, as you noted, they ultimately make the coaching change and Steve Kerr comes in, goes in a little different direction with the offense. But we've seen what that team is capable of doing. And Mark Jackson was a huge reason why they were able to get to the baseline of where they could then, kind of take that next step as a team. I absolutely look at him as someone who would be a good fit in Chicago for a lot of those reasons, because as you noted, you have the Wendell Carters, the Markkanens, the Levines, the Kobe Whites, the young and talented players who can still have their games molded to really kind of get to the height of where they could be as a professional. Obviously, you got to get it done on both ends of the court. Mark Jackson's going to be someone who's going to demand defense out of his players at all times. I think if that's a direction that they ultimately end up going, it would be one where they would ultimately be set up for success, I think, just because I do believe, while there are certain areas where Jackson probably could be better as a coach, I do think, especially as a defensive mind and someone who's going to be able to work with young players, that's an area where he is in a better position to succeed than I think certain other candidates would be.
I like where you guys are going with this, Shawn. I love point guards who become head coaches. It's kind of like a catcher in a baseball who becomes a manager, a quarterback who becomes an offensive coordinator in football. I love where you guys are going with this. Here's my only two concerns. Mark Jackson was definitely a passing point guard. Zach LaVine is not. Mark Jackson definitely is going to preach defense. Zach LaVine is not going to play defense. That's my only concern with that. I think Zach is the key to that Bulls team, though. How do you get more out of Zach? How do you get him to become a better leader? How do you get him to want to play defense? How do you get him to understand, it's very hard for a team when the leading scorer is the point guard to win a championship. How do you get those lessons through to the young man?
Well, I think a lot of it has to come from the voice that he's getting that information from. One, the player's got to buy into what his coach is selling him, which is a reason why it probably didn't go as well for Boylan as he would have hoped in Chicago, because I don't think he really had a firm grasp on that locker room at all from day one. But in a sense where you look at today's players, and maybe it's a Mark Jackson, maybe it's someone else, but to use Jackson as a point of reference, since we were just discussing him, you look at a player and hope that, hey, you accept this advice, you take what this person's saying seriously, because not only is this your coach, but it's someone who's been here and done this at a high level in the league for a long time. It's not like, it's just some other, an assistant coach that's come up the ranks and been a lifetime coach, and not necessarily someone who was playing at the level of a Jackson in the NBA for as long as he did. You would think that there's going to be more of a respect level there, just because you would look at them as maybe more of a peer as you would as just a coach-player relationship. But ultimately, it comes into the voice that's delivering the message, and it's on Zach LaVine to buy into it, because regardless of what he's told, if he doesn't buy into it fully, it's not going to make a difference.
Without a doubt.
Guys, that's my man, Michael Boland. Hey, buddy, I appreciate your time. I know they got you running, working over there, boy, and I appreciate you squeezing us in, man. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you online.
Yeah, absolutely. As you noted, you can find me on Twitter at mbolandcbs, and then follow us at CBS Sports NBA, and then obviously we have everything at cbssports.com that you're going to need throughout the playoffs. We have all our predictions up for every first-round series, and we'll be live blogging every game for the next for the entire first round. So 4 games a day, 4 live blogs a day. We'll have everything you need over at CBS Sports.
Damn, they got you working there, boy.
We are working, yes.
Hey, great stuff again. Thanks for taking time out for us today. We appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you guys for having me.
Yep. All right, now. All right, that was Michael Boland, the senior NBA editor for CBS Sports. And again, I do appreciate it this time because he couldn't come on earlier. He's like, man, we're doing this and this and this and this. Like, what about 11:30? He's like, oh, yeah, we got a break. I'm like, cool. And just a big shout out to him for coming on. I want to, 3 hours is come and gone. Our hours, Jason, that hour came and went quick, huh?
Yeah, man. It's a lot going on, man. All these sports are going at once. A lot of good stuff to talk about. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the Blackhawks acting like they Cody Parkey, keep hitting the goalpost.
You know what? One of the things that I liked about, we'll talk about that real quick, was the resilience. And it's something you can't quantify. You can't say, okay, it's this. You can't put it on the stat sheet. And there's the resilience that they had. Corey Crawford, it could have been his last game. Was he fired up because it could have been his last game as a Blackhawk and he wasn't letting anything through? I don't know. All I know is you just can't give up 49 shots on on a goalie, and especially down the playoffs, especially when Robin Lehner had 24 shots he had to deal with. 24 shots. He had 20. He had two of them in. Remember, the last one was empty netter.
Right.
You can't do that. I don't care who you are.
They shouldn't have won the game based off of the stats.
No, if you look at the stats, it's easy. Oh, the team with 49 shots, they won. And it just wasn't. But you know what? I need more out of Kane. I need more out of DeBrincat. Like, those guys need to light the lamp. And if they don't, it was a quick stay of execution because they're going to be out tomorrow.
Yeah, their power play, man. It is no power in that play.
1 in 13, 1 for 13, I think.
Yeah, it's been awful, man. And and again, Colton, I understand he's still kind of a new coach, man, but you can't have Alex Nylander on the ice, man, and especially not on the power play. I'm like, this dude turns the puck over.
Jason, I was watching every time he gets the puck. I'm like, oh god. I'm like, why is he on the ice? I'm down at the TV. Why is he on the ice? It's frustrating watching him play.
The biggest problem that I had was the passing. As we saw our Hawks grow from 18-year-old boys and Tays and Kane and hit that championship run. That passing was crisp. It was stick to stick. It was no, I overshot you. That wasn't the Blackhawks. Their passing was pristine, and right now it's nowhere near that, and that's frustrating because you see a guy. That's why Kane and Tays were always so potent, because they can get the puck on their stick exactly where they need it to make a quick and fire on net. Sometimes to the surprise of the goalie who's not able to get there quick enough. Okay, and that's part of the game. You get the passing is so pristine that as soon as you get it, you're flicking at the net, and the goalie doesn't have time to slide from one post to the other. And right now it's an embarrassment from what we've seen, and it's almost sad. Not almost, it's sad to see the passing where it's gone from where we've seen it in those championship years to now. And you see the way the Vegas Golden Knights are passing. It's like you're the Hawks are literally playing the Hawks of 2010.
Yeah,
and frustrated when the shoes under the foot.
They looking like the Harlem Globetrotters the way they passing around the Blackhawks. And the funny thing, Shawn and I, is that Kane is dropping dimes. I think sometimes his passes are so out of this world that he's scared the heck out of the dude who's supposed to be shooting the puck.
Yeah,
he'll put it right on the stick. Right. And Dylan Strome completely missed the entire net on a couple of occasions.
Let's not let Kane off the hook too. The other guy was a game. He just
he
wide open net.
He did,
which is frustrating. Which goes back to what they got, like 15, 16.
Goalposts.
Goalposts. You got to finish. That's too many chances left out. Left to nothing.
Yeah. So I think it'll be over tomorrow. I think they shot their load. It's done. Vegas is just too aggressive. I mean, again, it's the 2010 Hawks, man, where they just come after you line after line after line and speed and speed and speed and every line. Like, Jesus, defensemen are really involved. Back when Seabrook and Keith were, in their heyday, and they were a lot more involved.
18 seconds in between those goals. 18 seconds. That's all it took from the first goal the Hawks scored. Oh no, I'm sorry, for going up 2-0 to them being 2-1.
2-1. Yep.
Seconds.
Yeah, quick, fast, in a hurry. Well, listen, 3 hours has come and gone. I want to thank all my guests. Joseph Phillips, he comes on every morning from the Chicago Crusader. I want to thank Kenneth Davis for coming on as always in the 10 o'clock hour. Ron Luce from the OnTap Sportsnet and the Rink Official. I want to thank my guy here, Jason Palmer, for jumping on with us for an hour. Great stuff having another guy. In addition to Ivan to bounce ideas and converse with. And then we just got off the line with Michael Boland from CBS Sports, talking NBA and talking Bulls. Great stuff, gentlemen. You guys made it a phenomenal show. Also want to thank my guy, Clarence Council. He is our social media posting phenom. All those things, when you go on our app, make sure you download the app. When you go in there, there's like 8,000 stories, and Clarence finds them and posts them for us. Our technical director, Elliot Baez. And again, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my man, the Wiz. We call him the man behind the curtain, my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, Ivan Vargas. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Hey, let's get Ivan. Let's get Ivan and Joe to fight on Wednesday.
Yes, yes, dude. You know what? I'm gonna bring a bucket of popcorn.
Get like the foam swords. Get like some foam swords. Stop.
Yeah. Cup fans want foam swords. There you go. All right. Gee, there's a shocker. Okay. You'll see me on Wednesday. Like, we got to go, guys. Hey, so for my lovely co-host of Absentia, Maya Kai, and again, my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan.
Later.
Peace.
And for Jason Palmer.
Later, y'all.
Love you, boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We're going on a 46-hour break. We'll see you on Wednesday, 9 a.m. to noon, Central Standard Time. Until then, I got 5 words for you. Download the app. We out.